What's up, fellow nerds? I'm Josiah.
I'm Nick.
We're friends.
We're playing Marvel Rivals.
We're friends and rivals. All right. Welcome to episode 18 of the Friends and Rivals podcast, everybody. We got another season 2.5 episode here for you today with some little bit of news, going over our first impressions of the 2.5 update, along with the balance patch, touching a little bit on the hero hot list. We're going to play some Armed and Dangerous with our super enthusiastic, excited Marvel Rival super fan Sebastian Stan. And of course, we'll have our Reddit take of the week with some comments. So Nick, what's up, bro?
Yeah, hey. I don't have much to report this week. I've just kind of been playing a bunch of 2.5, and I can't really talk about that here because then I'm not going to have anything to talk about for the rest of the episode. But
yeah, right.
I have actually been doing a little bit more game development the last few weeks than I had been for a long time.
For sure.
I'd been pretty frustrated because with all the moving all over the place and everything, I just hadn't had the energy for a while. But I've been doing it again, and it's been fun making progress, and having fun doing that. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm a little sick, but
it's your turn.
It's my turn. I'm doing much better today, and much better. Well, I'm doing much better right now for sure. I was not feeling good this morning, but I'm doing a lot better right now. I have not been doing game development, but I have been frustrated because I have not been able to just like play single player games, which is something that I've been really missing out on. And I've been off this week. And maybe the reason why I got sick is because I've been staying up really freaking late playing Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
Oh man.
And also in like every second that I've not been playing 2.5, I've been doing that. And I beat it today.
Wow.
And
nice.
and I am like, man, for the Expedition 33 fans out there, for those who come after, I am still reeling from that entire experience, and I'm like processing. But I text our friend today who is also playing it, and this feels crazy to say, I think it might be in my like top 5 favorite games of all time.
I've heard that from so many people.
I like can't believe how good it is.
I was really hoping that I was going to be the one to bring it up first, but I just keep having other things that I'm doing instead of playing it. But I know I'm going to play it all the way through. And I haven't even really seen anything about it. It's just from the way people are talking about it and the type of game it is. I'm like, this is right up my alley.
Yeah. You will have some philosophical thoughts that we will go over together when you do play it. And cool. My goodness, it is truly incredible in every way. But man, Marvel Rivals 2.5. Let's just get into some news.
Well, first we have a review.
Oh,
yeah.
Let's get into some news.
So, because we've forgotten it every time we've had a review in the last month, I'm going to say it. Thank you, Night Gobbler.
Thank you, Night Gobbler. I tried to snub Night Gobbler right now. I tried to snub him and a review. I forgot about this one.
What are you, Spider Joe?
Dang! Wow, the nemesis coming out.
Yeah,
Spider Joe, it's me.
Yeah, so this comes from Safman Devoted Fan, and this is actually our first review from outside the US, so thank you. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So this review kind of got... I can't get to the original one because the way that Apple works, if you try to make another one or you try to like, add to it, it just replaces whatever you had before with something else. So originally, for a couple days, the review said something to the effect of, love the podcast, and then was asking us to do an Iron Man Hero Spotlight soon, which just I don't know how much you've played. Are you playing more Iron Man this season because of the?
Uh, no, I'm just really rocking my Ultron Instalock game.
Yeah, you are. Okay. So I mean maybe I might at some point playing with you a lot end up playing a lot of Iron Man and get him further up the list, but I
Yeah,
don't think Iron Man is close to being soon. But
yeah.
we'll get to him eventually. But then now the review it has a second part, so it got changed over. So now this one we should actually address anyway.
Yeah.
This part of the review, he said, "Hey, it's me again. Just wanted to say, when Ultron comes out, can you do a hero spotlight on him?" And
Don't tempt me with a good time.
so I mean,
did it before, and I can do it again.
yeah, I mean, well, last week we already went through the abilities. So if you want to listen to last week, you can look at some of his abilities and stuff before he came out. But you know what? Even if we did one like next episode, there's been so much that people have learned about Ultron from him coming out.
I have something to tell you.
I already know what you're going to tell me. I looked at your career page. I know he's already your next hero spotlight. And what I'm saying is we might just need to just let that be because like
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey, I'm
because
down.
look, we haven't done the lore and I
It's true.
think he is significantly different
Yeah.
than what everyone's speculations were,
Yeah.
like in
Very
how
much
you
so.
actually want to play him. So I think
Right.
we still could get a lot of value out of talking through his kit again now
All
that
right.
we have experience. Uh, so yeah, maybe an Ultron one will come soon. Iron Man is still going to be a while, but thank you for the review.
Yeah.
Zzz. Uh, yeah, and thank you, Night Goblin.
And thank you, Night Gobbler. And once again, sorry for trying to snub you out there, Southman and Night Gobbler. Now, can I say it now?
Yes, now you can say it. Yeah.
On to the news. For all y'all looking out for the thong, unfortunately, I have some disappointing news for you this week. He's still nowhere to be seen. I'm getting a little nervous. I'm getting a little worried that they're not
Yeah.
going to bring us the thong. And
There's
I
your
could like
thong alert update for the week.
I could kind of understand why, not from a like, oh, it's too risque, but it's just like it's very basic, I guess. So just adding like a
Yeah,
black few pixels, I don't know. Maybe they're not going with that,
I
which would
think it's
make me
gonna
really
sell though.
sad.
It's gonna
Yeah,
sell
I
though.
mean,
I'm gonna
absolutely,
buy
it
it.
would. I don't even play the thing, and I'll buy it. Dang it! But no, we do have two really freaking amazing skins here. Wolverine coming out of nowhere with Weapon X. I hadn't
Yeah.
seen this leaked anywhere. This is the coolest Wolverine skin now, as far as I'm concerned. This thing
Well,
is incredible.
this is one of the classics. Like they had
Yeah,
his yellow outfit from Deadpool and Wolverine, which is pretty classic, and this was the other thing that was missing, right? Like
right.
now I feel like other than maybe him in like a leather jacket with like normal hair and not whatever the hair was they decided to do for this game. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
I think other than
We
that,
don't
we've
talk
got all
about
the
that.
classic looks now.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do like the white tank top thing too.
I was
But
gonna say tank top Wolverine. I still really want Old Man Logan Wolverine too.
that'd be
That would
cool.
be a instant buy for me with like the leather jacket.
But this
But
100% was the big one that was missing.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, now it's here.
Really, really cool looking. I love it. It makes great use. There's just something about his like body proportions in the original skin that really throw me off. That both the his like suit and this really make work in a much better way. Just seeing the like muscles and stuff, it just like makes it okay in my brain. It takes it out of the uncanny valley that it's in with his
Yeah.
default costume. But then we have Jeff, of course, who's so freaking cute in this costume, and I love my favorite detail about this is that what's the worst thing you could do to Jeff? Put freaking shoes on him and get rid of his toe beans. Well, he is wearing shoes in this, but his shoes have freaking toe beans on him, so you don't miss out on it. You see, he's got like flip flops on his little shark feet, and underneath the flip flops are the imprints of his toe beans.
That's
So
awesome.
it's perfection.
I have you seen the video for this one?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. I thought it was funny that like I get why they did it, but I thought it was funny that normally the part of the video where they go into the practice range and use all the abilities so you can see what it looks like with the skin. Normally they attack people.
I thought the same thing,
They
dude. I
attack
thought
the drones, and
exactly
this
what they
time
were
he was
doing.
just watering flowers and putting bubbles in the
Oh,
middle of nowhere. Like he didn't do
yeah, yeah, yeah.
anything with the drones. I thought that was funny.
But did you
But
think it was because they weren't sure if they
what
were
his
gonna do, yeah, if they're gonna change it yet? That
yeah,
was my thought. I
maybe.
was like, I wonder if they didn't because they didn't want to show. And then I counted because they did his right click and they did it 3 times.
Yeah, they did.
It did have the knockback. Now that I'm like rewatching it in my brain, it did have the knockback, which means that that update was live in that video, which is weird that they didn't show the
Well,
stream then.
the update was live, but they could a lot like if they had reverted the Jeff changes or like they weren't sure about them yet, they
Yeah.
could have still used that video and people would have been like someone would have noticed like wait, why does that ability have knockback? But that would have been the only thing that would have been weird, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
he did
yeah.
3 bubbles, which he could have done before and he can still do
Right.
now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I did actually, yeah, thank you for saying that because there's another thing in the video that I noticed. I might be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure actually that the bubble was pre-change because it gave the sound effect for like that burst of heal rather than the regen
Hmm.
effect. I don't know if the sound effect has changed, so I could be wrong about that. But I actually probably am because that would be weird, I guess. But I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
All the things I was thinking during that, that skin
Last thing
video.
I'll say about the Jeff skin, I really liked the MVP animation with him in the field of flowers and he's like swimming around in there.
Land sharking it up.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was pretty great.
that was really fun. And then just this cute little postcard
Yeah. You
animation at
see
the
how,
end.
you see how they draw cat ears and whiskers on him too? It's in that
No.
picture.
Oh, I did it. Yeah, I see it right here. I didn't notice that.
It does that in the
Oh,
animation too. But anyway,
so kawaii.
we also have a patch coming out
We do.
on June 5th. Um,
It'll be live
which
by the time you hear this.
it definitely will be, yeah, because we're probably going to be. Well, you'll know by now because you'll be listening to this episode. But we're probably
Yeah,
going to be out a little bit late this week just because Josiah's sick and we had to adjust a little bit.
yeah, a little bit though.
So this new patch, it's a pretty minor one, other than
Mhm.
the big one, which is we have Ultron's Battle Matrix Protocol mode coming out. We're going to talk about
Yeah.
that separately after the patch notes, so we'll keep moving. But that's going to be most of the patch, and then of course we got the new skins that we just talked about, and then I'm going to read you basically every other change because it's a very minor. It's a very minor patch, but each of the changes that they did make are actually interesting. So.
Yeah.
We've got first off a login reward that we've never had before. Another
Mhm.
mobile-ish
Yeah, I know.
engagement tool.
I
Uh,
know.
but basically, if you log in sometime in the next week, from June 5th to June 12th, just once, you're gonna get a tic-tac-toe spray. So cool. And then we have some optimizations that they made. First off, Loki's illusions can now perform emotes with the
Heck
real Loki
yeah.
during battle, which is great.
Maximum salt.
Yep, and it means that if Loki accidentally emotes or something, he's not going to give away which one is the clone.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
that
yeah.
not that in real life people don't know which ones are the Loki clone most of the time, but it's still
Right.
important for a character that has some deception.
Yeah. I remember in Rainbow Six when they came out with Alibi, who is the operator who can create clones of herself. They didn't make her clones reflect her skins. So
Right.
it was
Yeah, at
just
least
like
initially, right?
always, yeah, it took forever because I really liked Alibi and I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, how could you not have any foresight? You released her with alternate skins. Like, how could you not
Right.
do that? So
Yeah, and
yeah,
it
at
meant that
least we
everyone
got
that
that
wanted to
issue.
play her wasn't going to use the skins, which
Right.
probably impacted their bottom line on the
But yeah.
alibi skins quite a bit. So,
Yeah.
um, cool. And then the other thing that they have here under optimization is players can now have up to 6 sprays at once on the battlefield. 5 was not enough. We need 6.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I wonder what I wonder like what the purpose of this was. There
I have
must be
no clue.
something specific that someone was like, "Oh man," one of the developers was like, "I really wish I could pull this off," and they couldn't.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I was sitting here when I read that the first time, and the reason I wanted to bring it up was specifically to say I have no clue why they would like spend the time to put one more spray in after giving you five. Like what?
Do you
Why?
think? Wait. Could it be? Could it be tic tac toe? Could it be related to that?
Oh,
Maybe.
maybe. If the tic tac toe spray lets you actually play tic tac toe,
Well, yeah, because
then
it says that. Because it
then you
says
would
it's
you would need one for the board maybe, and then whoever goes first would need five. Yeah, you'd need six
yeah,
to pull
yeah,
that
there
off.
you go. There
I
you
think
go.
that's it. That's a great idea.
Nice.
Wow.
Clever. Hey,
Um,
more skin interactions, which is what I asked for. Just come
sure.
on, give me some hero profile faces and mustaches and eye patches and stuff.
Well, and if that is what's happening, and we get an O, an X, and a board, then now you're just gonna have an X that you can put over people, and
Yes.
just cross people out constantly on that.
There is that. There is that.
All right, cool. So, last couple things. They said that they enhanced the Jeff Nato team up profile story. Not really sure what that means. I assume that means they made the description of the team up a little bit more useful because it didn't really tell you anything other than Jeff merges with the storm
Yeah.
tornado, and it really gave no details about what that did. I would assume they would at least they don't go too detailed on the team ups, but I would assume they would at least want it to mention that Jeff swallows people at the end of it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
probably just mentioning that. And then the last one, in such a minor patch, it still gets a 5 out of 5 because they said fix certain terrain issues in the Hellfire Gala Krakoa map where characters could become stuck or clip into strange locations. Hallelujah.
Love it.
That's it.
Thank you. Thank you for soothing my soul with that. Um, the next thing, of course, is the Ultron Battle Matrix Protocol, which I am really looking forward to. And I've been not, I guess not like surprised, but I have been, I guess, encouraged and slash relieved to hear that pretty much all the comments on the video are super positive too. And I think like one of the top comments was like, "Oh man, I can't wait to like waste all of my time in
Yeah.
indexing this limited time event."
Oh,
Um,
100%. Yeah, that's
I
what's happening.
my first thought was, heck yeah, very cool on the video. My second thought was, I wonder if they would release this as a separate game, like for mobile. If
I see.
people enjoy it enough, if they just like lean into it a little more and do their own League of Legends spin-off thing with like a Clash Royale.
Not if they don't want to be responsible for phones exploding across the world, because this game and its performance requirements, if they tried to
Oh,
put a slice of this game on a phone, it would go nuclear.
that's true.
It's not going to happen.
That's true.
But they could
Yeah,
release
yeah.
it on PC and console.
Yeah, for being a like very tight, needing to be a very tightly optimized game studio in general for their mobile games, Marvel. I mean, I guess. Well, there you go. There's the explanation. They've never made a PC game before,
Well, the
so they're not.
explanation, yeah, it's also a lot of it's Unreal Engine 5. They're using like Lumen and Nanite and all the like crazy high fidelity graphic, like
Yeah,
splintering background stuff
but did you see
for
that? Did you
grain
see that?
destruction.
You see that Witcher 4 Unreal gameplay reveal?
No, I haven't.
It's insane, dude. And I mean, unless they're straight up lying, which I think CD Projekt Red has learned their lesson about false advertising, they were running it on a base model PlayStation 5 at 60 frames per second. And there's been
Nice.
a lot of conversation about like Unreal devs are like starting to learn how to use Unreal 5 in much better ways. That like the default tool set is like just not good from what I've
Yeah,
heard a lot of people say, but that like once you get to tweaking it and like making it your own. Yeah,
right.
anyway.
Which means what I'm saying is at a base
Yeah.
level,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
gonna cause performance issues.
Right,
And
right.
Rivals has been using it for a couple years. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So probably not going to happen. But what is going to happen is I'm definitely going to spend way too much time min maxing builds for this.
Yeah.
It's giving very Expedition 33. Expedition 33 has an insane build crafting system, which I'm sure you will love. But all of the different like abilities and like talents and power ups that they've shown off in the Battle Matrix Protocol trailer have me super excited to just mess with a bunch of different stuff. I'm loving the like if strategist, if vanguard, if duelist, like if multiple roles, like you get all these different talents to
Yeah.
pick, and then like ultimate ability things. Magneto's ultimate, you can like do the trait where it now is a black hole that like sucks people into it too. And like Star-Lord's ultimate targets 3 targets instead of just one, like
Yeah, it
lining up all
looks
your
like
characters with positioning and stuff.
yeah, it looks like an auto chess, auto battle type game, but like they've added a lot of the like Vampire Survivor like upgrade kind of system kind of deal
Yeah.
where you're picking all the things. Like it's a cool mix. I really I yeah, I just can't wait for
Yeah.
I guess tomorrow at this point to play it.
Right.
But
I'm hoping that they allow for custom games of this so that we can actually do what
way
we
better.
talked about, which is
I know.
doing our armed and dangerous lineups in this mode.
Yeah, we
That would
need to.
be super freaking fun. Last couple notes about this. So there are 3 rewards, which are super cool. So you get a spray for playing 3 games. You get an emoji for playing 10. And Ultron thumbs up into lava, definitely picking up off of the meme of the skeleton. Sorry, not the skeleton. I
It's
think it's
Terminator 2
Jason.
or
Oh,
Terminator
Terminator.
3.
My bad. Yeah, yeah. Terminator giving the thumbs up while sinking into the lava. And then if you get 2,000 points, which who knows what that means, you get an Ultron angry face emoji as well. So I will definitely be unlocking all of those. Um, this is unique enough that I hope they break their trend for the past couple events and make it just 24/7. I really
I
don't
agree.
want this to be another weekend thing because again, I like as a weekend work warrior, I
They
I miss out on a lot of that and it makes me really sad.
They have been listing the times differently than they were for the events that they were only doing on the weekend. This
Yeah,
just says starts on June 6th and ends on June 23rd.
right. So I think
And
that's safe to
yeah,
say
I think
that
it's
they
pretty
won't.
safe to say it. Yeah, it's going to be the whole time through. What I'm hoping is that they see overwhelmingly positive
Mm,
sentiment about this and decide to
yeah,
leave it in. Because,
yeah.
like, I would love to play a
Yeah,
match
yeah,
or
yeah,
two of
yeah.
this while I'm waiting for the rest of the group to get on rather than
Sure.
playing a quick play and getting stuck halfway through or, whatever. Not that
Yeah.
this might be longer than quick play for all I know, but I still want to play it, okay? I just want to play
Right.
this.
Right, right, right. No, I agree. I agree for sure. Yeah, it seems like there's 3 round like on the in the video they have like 3 check mark icon at the top. I don't know if that's like choosing perks or like rounds or I don't know
Yeah.
how it works like how many games you play, but it definitely does say like 1 to 2 on the top of one of the sections too. So it's multiple
Right.
rounds.
Yeah.
Um but
Yeah.
anyway, we'll find
Well,
out really soon.
just as a last thought on this before we move on, I think the event rewards are a pretty good example of like I feel like the emojis are going to be really useful for them. Like this is an event where
Yeah.
it's not related to the main gameplay. So like they probably don't want to force you to play this if you're not interested. Like there's a very different potential audience for
Yeah.
this than Rivals, right? So it
Right.
makes sense for them to not put like a big skin or some huge thing that everyone's going to want. But the emojis are super cool and
Yeah.
um but they're also minor enough that like it's not like a spray where the spray is like who cares, whatever, it's a spray,
Yeah.
have it or I don't. The emoji, like there's some draw there, but there's not so much draw that you're gonna have the FOMO of like I hate this game mode but I have to play to 2,000 points or 10 games or whatever it is. Like if you don't like it, like it's like okay, whatever, I'm not gonna get all the emotes anyway, that's fine, so I think this is really cool seeing that they already are using the emoji system in good ways. Like I appreciate it in the combat chest. I appreciate it in this.
Yeah.
It's like a nice, like really highly fun reward to get, but low risk if you don't, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree, and I like the selection too. That
Yeah.
Ultron and the lava thumbs up is definitely going to be my most used emoji now. So
Oh, 100%. I wish that 2000 points like angry Ultron face was a mood rather than an emoji.
mm,
But
that
uh,
would be cool. That would
that would
be
be a
cool.
nice mood. But anyway, that's the news for today. So let's get into some podcast patch notes.
Let's do it.
Whoop, 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 whoop. It's podcast patch notes.
Nice.
And
Yeah, the budget cuts are really hitting us hard right now. We have to have Nick make our transition sound effects.
um, so because this is a first impression episode about a whole bunch of things we talked about last week, I had a hard time because there are plenty of things I would like to revise from what I said last week, but none of them are things that I feel like I can put in this segment. They're all just things that are going to come out as we talk. So I don't really
Yeah.
have anything this week, but Josiah, you said you have a couple things you want to say specifically here.
Yeah, pretty minor. I probably don't even have 2 minutes to be honest, but
Well, here we go. 2 minutes on the clock.
here we go.
Go.
One of the just like kind of detailed points of speculation that we had that I wanted to touch on here was the Penny Rocket team up. Nick actually just did some testing to clarify 100% about this, but I discovered it in a game and I was like, oh wait, what the heck? So we had speculated that Penny's armored nest would be spitting out armor and that Rocket's webbed BRB would be spitting out spider mines, and that's true, but Rocket's BRB still also spits out armor. It just does it at a slightly slower rates, like half the time. And it seems that Penny's armor nest doesn't spit out the super jump armor packs.
Yeah.
That's still just Rocket's BRB. So just something good to know. Another note I had was oh no, oh yes, I finally have kind of figured out Winter Soldier's ultimate.
Hey.
I feel much better with it now. I think realizing in the conversation that we had that I was like trying to use it to compensate for like a losing game, and that just like not being how it is. It's something that you push the snowball over the hill with. Once I like stepped into that mentality, that made a huge difference, which I was super excited to experience. And something that we experienced, I think yesterday, was just how big of a difference one person on a team can make.
Oh yeah. This game.
I mean, we can get into this more later, but like, dude, we were winning and we had one person swap from Doctor Strange to the Thing, which in just what was going on in the fight was just such a bad choice, and we freaking lost. We lost really hard, and he switched back to Doctor Strange in the end, and we took like 50% of the point back, but it was just too late at that point. And time.
Here, yeah, let's take my 2 minutes then and talk about this. So so we were playing control map and we had a Doctor Strange, and so I was playing Wanda. The other team had like a Hulk and a couple other like pretty beefy characters that were hard to kill. But that Wanda team up, and Flyers, that Wanda team up, one is really good against Flyers because it bursts people down really quick, so you don't have to be able to hit them for very long. But two, oh my goodness, does it melt things like Hulk and the Thing and anyone who's just like Groot. It is such a tank buster. So that not ultimate, that team up ability, like do not sleep on that team up, especially this season. I feel like Doctor Strange got better. You're going to see more of him. Use Wanda, use that team up. It's gross.
Yeah.
So anyway, we were playing and we were losing at the beginning, and I switched to Wanda because we had a Doctor Strange and was finally able to like clean up all the Hulks, clean up a lot of the Flyers. It flipped the game. We won a round, like the second round. So now we're 1-1 round, and we're in the third round. And yeah, our one tank decides to go the Thing against a full team of Flyers, which made no sense because he wasn't going to be able to help us with like half the team. Right. And we lost a shield. We lost a giant shield. Yeah. And I lost the team up that was melting everyone. So he played like most of that round on the Thing while we were saying like, please, for the love of all that is holy, go back to Doctor Strange in the chat the whole time, which we don't normally like chat at people telling them what to do in games, but it was so stark how much that game changed. Right. And he switched back at the end, and we took the point for the first time in that entire game. It was
Yeah.
like 95%. We took it back, got it to like 60, but we weren't able to win. But
Yeah.
that one swap changed absolutely everything because it had cascading
Yep.
effects down the team up. So
Yep.
um, that doesn't mean that if you are a team up anchor and the character just really isn't working for you, like that you can't swap.
No.
But at least consider what other things might be relying on you before you swap off, especially as a Vanguard, because Vanguards are kind of the core of the team a lot of the time.
Yeah. And I mean, even just take that snapshot, the spirit of that snapshot in general, and just think about like how important each pick on the team is. Like literally everyone else's skill stayed exactly the same. Even the person who has made the switch, their skill is still, they're still that
Yeah.
person.
And he
But
was killing people is the thing.
yeah,
Like the
sure.
couple people he could reach, he was doing a good job with.
Yeah,
But it
yeah.
just changed our ability as a team. Yeah.
Right, right. You have to remember that Marvel Rivals is a rock, paper, scissor, pick, counter pick game. And even just one right decision or wrong decision can change the entire outlook of a game. So when you're getting tilted, try and think first of like, okay, what does the team need to survive, to do more damage, to take more damage, like whatever it is, what does the team need right now? And literally just you thinking about that could make a difference and swing the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just such a I wanted to bring it up and you wanted to bring it up because not to bag on our tank, but because it was just such like a stark learning moment of like
Yeah.
realizing like, oh my goodness, like I wonder how many games have something like this that just weren't that
Uh-huh.
obvious that we could see,
Hmm.
where we start losing all of a sudden. We're like, what's going on? Like we were doing fine. Like I wonder how many games have something like that where some
Sure.
swap just like totally domino affected the entire thing. Because it also matters what the enemy team is playing, and like
Yeah, of
some
course.
some swap on their team could have some sort of big domino effect, and you got to adjust. So.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, people sometimes don't like swapping because you don't want to give up ult charge and waste things like that and be behind in the ult economy and everything. But there are
Yeah.
times, especially when you're under 50% on ult charge and it's not costing you anything, where it could be a big benefit to think to yourself for a little bit, like, is there a better swap for me to take?
Yep.
So, all right. Well,
100%.
I didn't have any patch notes, and we went like 4 minutes over on them. So it's like every episode that we're like, oh, we don't have a lot to talk about this episode. This will be a short one, and it goes to almost 3 hours.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So before
Let's
we do that, with this
let's move
episode,
on.
yeah, let's get to the main topic.
If you are listening to this podcast, you are probably pretty into Marvel Rivals, and you're probably aware that season 2.5 has been controversial, to say the least, when it comes to Marvel Rivals updates. So we've got some thoughts we'd like to share with you about, I mean, everything: the map, the meta, the Ultron, the combat chess, the emojis, all that good stuff. So let's just jump right into it. Some general thoughts. I'm just gonna share like overall. I think, I mean, it's only been 1 week, right? But I'm definitely enjoying this.
Yeah,
There's a lot of changes, and you can feel them. Like the way the team comps, the way games are being played, they do feel like markedly different. Um, and I know for a lot of people like that can be a tough pill to swallow if you're the Thing main and you're coming up against Ultron, Storm, Iron Man, and Human Torch. Like you're probably struggling a little bit. But it maybe I've been having as good a time as I have been because I've been pretty much exclusively playing Ultron. But yeah, it is interesting. I wonder like what this means for the future of them making and breaking metas and having these like seismic shifts in the landscape. I wonder what that is going to look like if
yeah,
they I mean they just can't keep that kind of thing up with releasing a new hero every 2 months. But I don't know. I'm really curious. It feels like, you know, uh, if you have a main, like in Overwatch, I feel like you could pick Winston, and you could play Winston pretty much every game. There would be like times where it wouldn't work out, but like in Marvel Rivals, I don't know if there is a hero that's really like that because of the rock paper scissors nature of things, and I wonder if they're trying to push people away from that kind of mentality of like, I'm going to play this character and I'm only ever going to play this character, because if the meta shifts away from, if you're maining a brawl dive and the meta shifts away from it, like, can you still do that? I don't know.
Magic still is like 52.5% win rate, but she's
true.
like the only one that survived that. Like a bunch of them are suffering a whole bunch. But I agree. I think my experience just in general with this has been that it does feel like very starkly different. Yeah. And what's interesting is like Ultron was a character that people were saying beforehand wasn't really gonna make a big impact.
Yeah.
And I think he has, partially just because he's been a lot better than people thought he was.
Oh yeah.
But beyond that, just being a flying strategist and having a team up with Iron Man, I think just those two things alone.
Yep.
And the Penny and Rocket team up. Those three things existing, I think, are what pushed everything. And if you look at that, that's like two of those three things are not the new character; they're team up changes. Mm-hmm. So what's really interesting to me is that if you think about last season, we got into this big dive meta thing, and that came from balance changes where they were weakening a lot of the strategists, because the previous season had been this big like poke back and forth and don't really get anything done, right? So it's been the balance changes, like, and not always the new characters that have been making the meta warp, which is interesting because Emma and Ultron have both been really like season defining, like strong inclusions.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that even though they're so strong, it doesn't seem like it's the new character that warps everything, which kind of makes sense with such a big roster. It's going to be hard for one character to make that big of a difference.
Yeah. I do feel like, I mean, I've been mainlining Ultron, though I do feel that Emma is just like better overall as like a all around like good in pretty much every situation, just like really nasty all the time. Ultron being a flyer, I think that's the big thing that really, that for me, more than his kit, just like the ability to fly has got me thinking that like, man, how many more of these can they add? Like true flyers.
I agree.
I wonder if they're going to see, and I have seen a lot of that feedback too, of like, my goodness, if they do add a true flying Vanguard, like, could they? If they were going to, like, they might not now, because that would be really crazy to end up with like a full flight team. It would be very unoptimized, but you could do it. You could do it.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the issue is like the flight takes you out of range of like half of the roster. Like there's like half of the roster that has a hard time dealing with someone who's further than like 10 meters away.
Right. Or do they just give heroes like the Thing, like, oh, he can now do a rock throw, or like, because he has no ranged, he has no way to deal with flyers whatsoever.
Right. And or they just need to release another hit scan DPS that is so strong against them, like, which is kind of what they did with the Punisher buff. They prepared him so much to feast on all of the new flying comps, right?
Dude.
And he's been incredible now.
I fear the Punisher more than pretty much anyone now as an Ultron.
I know. Player. Yeah. And he is my character I've played the most this season. I had played like 5 minutes of Punisher before the season. Yeah, and I've been hearing a lot of people. I've been hearing a lot of people say the same thing of like, he wasn't fun. And now just because you get so much, like he's just a blast. But I guess that's what I'm saying is like some of how they can mitigate this is less drastic than like creating new characters that do certain things or changing abilities on other characters is just you buff the counters and you set them up to keep it down. So I think we're always going to see like the Punisher and Hela kind of move up the season after flyers have a bunch of time so that you can kind of like melt them back down a little bit. Yeah. But man, dude, the flying strategist thing, this is really just us talking about Ultron. We probably should wait until we talk about him, or we could just talk about him now. But the flying strategist thing has so many like second and third order effects. Like
Oh yeah.
just the fact that one of the strategists cannot be dived, Divin. Uh, and the Flyers don't die as often because again, half the roster can't hit them. They're able to hide behind things way up in the sky and buildings and stuff like that and just poke
Yeah.
out back and forth. And
Yeah.
so you have the combo in Ultron, and I think this might be what we were missing before he came out and
Mm.
didn't like take into account. Like yes, his healing is low but consistent, right? But what we didn't take into account is it's up like 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Not only because it has no reload or anything and
Yeah. No
like
cooldown.
no cooldown and doesn't like run out, but because he doesn't die very often. Because he's flying, he's way up in the sky. Most of the strategist assassins cannot do anything to him. Psylocke's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
going to get him. Iron Fist isn't going to get him as much now that he
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
fly. Uh,
Yeah.
Magic's going to have a hard time with him. Like
I have
he,
seen some Spider-Man players adapt though and
yes,
get some nasty wall run, jump, grab angles. I got
yeah,
absolutely bodied by a Spider-Man earlier today.
oh, 100%.
But
But
yeah,
it
no,
takes a
agreed.
lot of effort to take out Ultron, and so you have this problem now of if there's a flying strategist on the team, the other team like almost always has healing. Like you just
Hmm.
they're always ticking up, and it just gives the team so much sustain
Yeah.
that the other strategist, while they maybe get more pressure because they're easier to deal with, like to get to, they also just have a way easier time healing everyone because everyone's getting topped off all the time, and the
Yeah.
you know um,
Yeah,
it's insane.
this could just be totally in my head and I could be wrong about this, but I have never, this is my lived experience. I have never felt so much playing any character that the enemy team is counterpicking me personally
Right? Yeah.
as Ultron because of all of the things you're saying, because of how much he can mess up an enemy team strategy just by nature of his not dying
Right.
and poking at people that normally you wouldn't have to worry about because of his infinite range. um I have seen so like there've been a lot of games that we've been stomping and I see people switch and I start dying and it's just like, oh my gosh, like and we lose because now
Hmm.
you're down a strategist constantly because they've made the counter picks to go after Ultron. But yeah, it is, it's very interesting. I'm excited to get into Ultron's apparent hero spotlight next week. Because yeah, maybe we should just start running down the list of some of the 2.5 things though and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
about each one of those.
Yeah, the last thing I want to say is just in general is that, and I guess this is kind of our meta discussion, right? So maybe that can be the first thing we really talk through since we've
Hmm,
sort of been like swirling around
dancing
it.
around it anyway.
Um, as a mostly dive slash brawl player myself, like this has been a really disorienting week because pretty much all of my main DPS picks are
Yeah.
in a rough spot, right? And so I go into a game and I take a DPS slot and then I'm like, shoot, what do I do? Like
Not
I'm
Winter
not gonna
Soldier though. Winter
no, but
Soldier's got his the counter flyer. He's a really solid one.
yeah, I feel like I don't know, I feel like he's been struggling for a while now and I just
Mm,
haven't been getting as much from him. But and the
okay.
stats show him like really low down there. He's at like 47, 46%.
Yeah.
The nerfs that they did to him last time really hit him. And now his team up that was super cool isn't really as useful because everyone's in
That's
the
very
sky.
true. Very true.
Um,
Yeah, his
so
team up was
and
very brawl focused.
yeah, and it's with Cap who is struggling because everyone's in the sky, right? So
Yeah.
it's been a really disorienting week, but for me it's been really fun because what it's done has made me play pretty much exclusively characters that I never played before because it's
Yeah.
forced me into the opposite of my normal
Right.
playstyle, which has actually been fun. But I can
Yeah,
see how it wouldn't be for a lot of
right.
people.
And see, that's
And
the big question, right? Like, that's a very interesting thing for them to do. And like, you and I might embrace the freshness of having to change our mindset up, but is that gonna jive with the majority of the player base? And I just I don't think so.
right. And that's something that I think this will be better when the seasons are shorter, starting with the next season. because
Yeah.
if
Agreed.
this is the balanced philosophy that they're going to
Yeah.
have of we really want to shake things up every time, when it's only a month, it's a lot easier to be like, okay, this is 4
Right.
weeks of this, and then they're going to do something different.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's been interesting though because I mean, I look at my most played characters for the season, and previously on the DPS side, it's Magic, Psylocke, um, Winter Soldier, maybe like Scarlet Witch, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a lot of dive brawly kind of characters. Um, if you look at my career page right now for this season, it's Hawkeye, Widow, Moon Knight, uh, and Star Lord and the Punisher are like the DPSs that I've been playing.
Mm.
And like 3 out of the 5 of those, I basically played none of before the
Yeah.
season. The only ones I ever played were Moon Knight and Star Lord, and those were just in season 0, and then I haven't really played them since. So
Yeah.
it's crazy how big of an impact this season has had.
Right.
Definitely feels like the biggest shakeup
Yeah.
so
Oh,
far.
oh yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with all that. My experience has been weird. Like I'm not a good sample, I think of the player base right now, just because I really have been pretty much exclusively playing Ultron, except for the team up testing that we did, and when someone else insta locks him faster, which is very rare. Sorry. I'm pretty good at those 2 clicks. Um, I have been it has been interesting to see though, just from like I got to play a decent bit day one this time, which was fun. Seeing from day one to like now, even in just a week, like my first few games with Ultron, I felt unstoppable. I
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
because people just had no idea how to cope with flying strategist sniper, and now I feel a lot more of the pressure of people learning how to deal with him. But yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested to play other characters now and see what it feels like. Like I played a little bit of Emma, I played a little bit of Winter Soldier, a little bit of Punisher, a little bit of Wolverine. I'm really excited to play Strange again because Strange
Yeah.
is so good right now, it seems. I did play like maybe one game with him and did feel really good with his damage fall off being buffed back to where it was again. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so if you're listening and you're curious about Strange, like he feels really good this season because one, the damage fall off on his primary, they removed a lot of it, so he can hit a lot further now, which is good because people are playing a lot further back.
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
you're not spamming the melee button as often as you used to, so it takes a little bit longer to get your charge up for Maelstrom, but he's hitting people far away. And then the big thing though is with all the flyers up there, his shift ability has never felt more useful.
Oh
His
yeah.
fly up into the sky. That's
Yep.
the one that I've always really never known what to do too much with on his kit. And now it's like, oh, I'm just gonna go up there and slap this person around and
You
murder them really
swat
quick.
flies with it.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
And you have a shield while you go up there, right? So you get up close to them and they're not hitting you for a little while and then just
Right.
slap Maelstrom and they're dead. It's I just insane.
Well, and all of the flyers are like squishy killers. They're all assassins. Like
Yeah.
Iron Man can burn down tanks with his suit overcharged beam,
Unibeam
but
thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But in general, like you can just face tank, and Doctor Strange does so much damage so quickly that you can burn down flyer. Like I mean, I was doing that all the time as a Doctor Strange main. Like I would go after Iron Man and Storm like nobody's business and wipe them out all the time in like season one. And so yeah, he's just doing that now. And Ultron has, once you've baited his one mobility ability out, he's
Mhm.
dead. He's a sitting duck. So
Yeah, I want to see. I want to play more of. And if you're gonna start playing Strange, we can do this. I want to
yeah,
play more of, and then see more of out there. A Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, like flyer assassin squad. Like the
yeah.
two of you just team
Oh
up
yeah.
and follow the
Yep.
flyers around and kill them the whole
Yeah,
game.
which is
Because
disgusting too.
her team up with Doctor Strange, I've already mentioned, is
Yep.
just absolutely disgusting against
Yep.
flyers and pretty much everyone. And now that he's good, you're going to see it more. It's going to be easier to get. But then she also, just with the consistent damage, is a really good way to finish off flyers who are flying away and stuff like that. And they're all pretty low health. Like there's not any of them that are super high health because they're already up in the sky. So
Yeah.
she's been pretty good already too. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, we'll see how everybody feels about this. You know, a month or so in, I'm curious to see if people's sentiment kind of adjusts. I have been. I do feel like a week in, it's still being received as like a bitter pill. But who knows? Maybe it's going to be good for everybody to learn new mains and be excited about new characters. I'm definitely excited by this and excited to play people that I literally never have, like the Punisher. So good times.
yeah, yeah. I think it's a good patch. It's just a surprise and a big
Yeah,
surprise, and
yeah,
not
yeah.
what people were expecting. So I think it it takes a little while to soak it in. But
Right.
I last things I want to say on abilities and stuff is like how do the new team ups for you feel? Um,
Oh, oh my gosh. I mean, all of the team ups are really good. This feels more so than the last team up change, like very team up focused, which is something I said I wanted to see and something that I was hoping for. Like, I mean, going by rivals meta, Penny and Rocket are absolutely annihilating the scene right now with
yeah,
their
they're
win
busted.
rates.
They need a
Their
nerf.
pick
It's
rates and their
too
win
good.
rates. That's the crazy thing. It's like Rocket was already top of the tier lists with the hero hot list of like insanely high pick rate and still above 50% win rate. Like it's crazy that they just gave him even more with
Yeah,
with having one of the best team ups in the game. And then Penny right now, oh my gosh, having according to rivals meta, I mean a 56.5% win rate
well,
is
and you know what's crazy is if you go up to Grandmaster and above, Penny's at a 59% win rate.
yeah, yeah, that's wild.
That's in the this is absolutely busted.
Right.
You need to nerf this range. Like
And
things should not get over 55.
yeah, 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 yeah. And I still hear people like YouTubers saying, like, I watched a video today and a YouTuber was like, if you're playing in the metal brackets, like Penny's a really good pick right now. It's like,
Yeah.
you don't understand, dude. Like, no one ever understood her potential, I don't feel. And now it's just like, yeah, if you're still sleeping on Penny in 2.5, like it's time to wake up, boy.
Dude, seriously, what universe did you think you would have to travel to see Penny at Grandmaster and above with an 8% ban rate?
Yeah, I know, right? And see, that kind of stuff is super cool to me. And if those are the kinds of things we get with these meta shakeups, like I'm along for the ride. I just don't know if it's going to be healthy for the overall community if they keep pushing that stuff. But um, I'm also aside from the Penny Rocket one, which I think is the craziest one right now. I I've alluded to this a couple times, and maybe I'm just going to come right out and say it right now. I've been playing a lot of Black Widow. And I just decided to try something. And Operation Microchip is one of the most busted abilities in the entire game right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Her pulse rifle that she gets from this is insane with the meta being what it is right now. She can delete flyers so freaking quickly because the fire rate is absolutely ridiculous. If you can land those shots, you can take down any flyer in 3 hits, and that is insane. Like 1 sec. That's 1 second. That's like 1 point, not even 1.5 seconds, with that fire rate. So those are the two that I'm really excited about. The Hawkeye
Yeah.
one sounds really broken on paper. I haven't seen it really at all, to be honest, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because her win rate still hasn't moved up, but it's also
No.
very early. But
Yeah.
but when you use that ability, it is so strong. So
Yeah.
I want to see what the Widow mains like are doing this season.
Yeah.
Like I want to see how high some of them,
Yep.
reach. But that team up single handedly makes me pick Punisher or Widow anytime someone is playing the other one. Like
Yeah.
just because it's so good. But yeah, the Hawkeye one, I haven't seen it much.
Me
But
either.
when I do see it, it seems really powerful.
Yeah, on paper, it sounds like completely broken, to be honest. But
Yeah, I think I had one game as Hawkeye where I had it, and I hit a couple, like, and it was nice, you know.
yeah,
That's one where I definitely want to intentionally try to play Hawkeye when I see a Luna this week, so
yeah,
that I can try it out more. Um, but I think I haven't seen many Lunas, um, many
many
Luna.
Luna.
I haven't seen many Lunas because someone is always Ultron. Ultron has a 63% pick rate.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, which is insane.
he's
Yeah,
been in
he's
almost a
in
million matches already,
games. Yeah, yeah.
and Cloak and Dagger is second at half a million. Like,
Right, right. Yeah.
he's almost doubled Cloak and Dagger and Rocket for amount of games, which is
In one
crazy.
week, dude. Click the button to go to season 2. That's more games than any hero was played in Rivals meta for 2 to 2.5.
That is
Isn't that
crazy.
insane? Yeah. People are riding the Ultron hype train right now like
Yeah.
nobody's business.
Um,
Um,
but what I'm saying is, like, I haven't seen a lot of Luna, although she's been played quite a bit too.
yeah. Well, she
When I
got
look at
buffed
this,
too. I mean, her ult charge got nerfed, but her damage got buffed and her healing
that's
got
what I
buffed.
was. That's what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
Is she looks like she'd be really good, and specifically, she looks like she'd be really good against what is being played right now too. Because
Yeah. Oh,
as
yeah.
far as all the supports go, she's the long range hit scan
Yep.
DPS support, and they made her more DPS focused.
Yep.
So I mean, this is the chance if you're a Luna main, and I know a few. Uh,
Yeah.
get back to playing Luna because
Yeah. Yeah.
she's. I think she's going to be a lot better. But
Seriously.
yeah,
Oh, and I would be
the
remiss if I didn't mention the Ultron Iron Man team up, obviously. I
yeah, that
mean,
one's good. Yeah,
you ever wanted to know what it feels like to have a freaking unibeam in both your eye sockets at the same time? It's not fun, all right?
no, it's
if
not.
you got an Ultron and an Iron Man like really teamed up, like playing together and picking targets together, you are freaking toast, dude.
Yeah,
That has been my most annoying thing this season, has been dealing with it's where it's like, okay, it's clearly two people on mic together that are like
yeah, yeah.
teamed up as Iron Man and Ultron because they're like flying around the map together and singling out targets. Like, holy crap, it is
Yeah.
nasty.
When I see those, I pick Moon Knight because they
Yeah,
spend the entire game grouped up enough where I can just hit both of them at all times, right?
yeah,
Um,
love to see
the
it.
I've actually been having a lot of fun with Moon Knight. He's probably my next hero spotlight in a couple weeks.
Heck yeah.
And you know what? He's been surprisingly good against flyers because they group up a lot. And I've noticed because flyers like to peek around corners on walls, like way up in the sky, a lot of the time you can put an Ankh right behind them on a wall, and they might not even know it's there, and then you really
Mm,
melt them because
yeah,
they hug corners a lot because you need cover
yeah,
when you're up there. So
yep.
he's actually been pretty fun for countering some of that too. And then he's great against. I've seen a lot of Groot and Jeff because people are playing Jeff. So a lot of Groot tanks have been around,
Yeah,
and if you have Groot with Rocket or Jeff on their shoulders, they both just melt instantly
yeah,
because you're just bouncing back and forth between them, and they can't go anywhere. It's
yep.
wonderful. Anyway, that has nothing to do with team ups, but it does have to do with Jeff. And Jeff has had
Hmm.
two team ups this season.
Yeah.
The symbiote one I haven't seen much because Venom's in a kind of weird spot this season. I just haven't seen much Venom.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah, I had one. Sorry, I keep interrupting you, and I apologize. I had one game that I played today where both tanks were Thing and Venom, and I typed in the chat. I was like, "The Thing and Venom in this economy," and they were like, "Brawler discount, let's go." I'm like, oh boy, we lost. By the way,
yeah, I bet you did. Um, no, but we played a game where I think you were Venom and I was
yeah,
Jeff, someone.
it's
I
Jeff. Yeah,
played a
yeah.
game. Yeah, I played a game as Jeff with a Venom, and I was looking at the team up, and I realized Jeff has 3 team up abilities now. I didn't even
Yeah,
know that was possible, but they're running out of
yeah,
keys. I can a console player please let me know
yeah.
what do the team up keys like? What do the team up buttons look like for Jeff when you're playing it? Is
Right.
it like your entire D pad? Like I don't know
Yep.
where they have the space on a
Circle,
controller.
triangle at the same time.
Yeah, I'm legitimately interested. So if someone wants to leave us a comment or tell us something on Discord, like if you play console, what does it look like when you pull up Jeff? What are his abilities for all the or buttons for all the team ups? But yeah, he's got 3. Now some of them, aren't that great. Like the Venom one is great, but Venom isn't great. So
Yeah.
you're not going to get a lot of use out of that. The Groot one, I still think just not great. But the Jeff NATO.
Also, not great.
Oh, I disagree with you. I disagree with you.
I
I
just still the 2 ultimate thing is just a tough sell.
It is, but there's a lot of times where you're using 2 ultimates anyway. Like
Yeah.
Groot and anyone else, he has kind of a soft 2 ultimate use, but you can't guarantee that anyone's going to do it with you. At least the Storm Jeff and Storm Human Torch one kind of guarantees the other person's probably going to try. But this one, the coordination is a lot better than the Human Torch one, I think.
Hmm.
Because if so, for a couple of reasons. So here's what I want to say about the Jeff Nato one. Cozy changed my opinion on this because he was talking about all of the changes in this season, and he was talking about Jeff Nato as being one of the most busted things that they've ever released. And I was like, "What are you
Yeah,
talking about?"
that's wild
And I
to
was
me, dog.
listening to it, and it made a lot of sense. So I'm not just gonna copy exactly what he was saying, but when I used it a couple times, I felt like it was a dud. But that was because I was playing with random storms,
Mm.
and we were in quick play. And I think you and I tried it once, and we were just trying to figure out how it even worked. And what people tend to do with it, which is not the way you want to do it, is people tend to hit the team up button on Jeff when Storm ults, which is the worst way to do it because Jeff should be the one initiating, and
Mm.
Storm should not be hitting the team up button to just automatically be on there. Storm should be ulting, and then when you run a Jeff ult into a Storm ult, it combines them, right? Just like
Yeah.
the Human Torch when you throw a Fire Tornado into the thing. So I think the Human Torch one is this way too, where it's a lot better to use your ults separately and then combine them at the end. Because even in the Human Torch one, it extends the duration of the Storm Tornado when it gets
Yeah,
hit
when she hits the
and turns it
tornado,
on
yeah.
fire, right? So that's a huge component of it, is you want to stagger them and not use them at the same time.
That's true.
But unlike just doing a lot more damage and area denial with the Human Torch one, this one has a built-in stagger for an entire team if you
Yeah.
do it right. And a panic button where you don't have to use the storm one because the Jeff ult, you find out very quickly whether it worked or not. And the Human
Mm.
Torch one, it takes the entire duration to figure out whether it was worth it or not.
That's true.
So here's what you do. Jeff goes first, and you see if he swallows enough people to make it worth it. If he doesn't, then you just have a storm ult, and you can do a regular storm ult separately. And great, you got a storm ult. Nothing bad. If Jeff swallows like 3 or 4 people on the team, he can wander around instead of trying to find a ledge. Or if he can find a ledge, then great. But you save the storm ult because you saw he was going to the ledge, right? But if you're in a spot where Jeff is not going to be able to throw everyone off the ledge, you have him eat them. You have him stay. He just kind of wanders around, keeps himself alive while doing all the ticking down damage. Probably gets all the squishies down to usually it's like 25% health that you come out with when you're
Mhm.
eating as a squishy. Tanks are like half, right?
Yeah.
Except right at the end of that now, instead of spitting them out, Storm ults on it and combines with the Jeff ult. That keeps them in the ult, taking more damage.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
at the end, Jeff throws them out. If anyone is still alive, he pops them out. And they're
Right.
going to be extremely low. But most likely what you did is you killed however many people Jeff swallowed at the beginning, maybe even did some damage to another person just on the storm ult running around on its own. But the big thing is how much time that takes. Jeff has locked everyone down for like the 5-6 seconds or whatever it is that he can hold people once he's swallowed them. And then the storm ult doubles that duration pretty much. And then you spit them out. And you've definitely killed all the squishies. You've probably killed a bunch of other people. So what I'm saying
Yeah.
here is you've got like a 12-second half team stagger, which is huge. Like for delaying things, for just leaving that team in a really awkward spot where they're either going to have to wait another 6 seconds for all those people to come back together.
Yeah.
I mean, you ran the clock down by like 20-30 seconds if you get this done, and probably killed 3 to 4 people.
Right,
Just
right.
saying. But it takes
I
coordination.
can
And
see it.
these coordinated team up ults do not work unless you're actually coordinating with someone.
Right, right.
And we haven't been able to try that yet. So I think we need to try to farm this
Yeah.
and report back for real, because I've been hearing not just Cozy but like other like higher level players say that it's crazy busted. But my experience up to this point has been that it was useless.
Yeah.
But I think we should try that game plan and see how it works.
Yeah. No, I'm
Sorry for
down.
thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
You're good. You're Jeff talk. Um, I get it. Like I see it. I just like it feels very specific to me. Like a Jeff ult is already really good and a Storm ult is already really good, and I feel like using them separately already offers so much like stagger and like stagger potential and diverse usage that it's I I mean I just have to experience it. Like we gotta do it so that I can feel it.
So going back to our ultimate sub roles that we're gonna get to after this episode next week, we'll be back to do duelist ones.
Yeah.
Think about it in those terms. If I gave you an ult
Yeah.
where I said, or two ults
Control
where
and
I
kill.
said it's got massive kill potential, and also it has a 14-second silent stun like knockdown effect where the people caught in it can literally do nothing for like 15 seconds. That would sound pretty good.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Even if it took
sounds
two ults
insane,
to do
right?
it. Yeah.
Right, right. But I mean, same thing with like Eye of Agamotto with reality erasure. Like if I told you that you had you know, a 3-second lockdown with a complete team wipe, it's
Right.
like two ults can always be really good together.
Yes, but here's the thing. These are very easy to decouple and not need to use the second one if the first one gets enough value.
True. Yeah, yeah. I think that's what makes this one way more interesting than or like potentially much better than the Human Torch Storm one for sure.
Yeah.
Like you were saying.
So I mean, the Eye of Agamotto and Reality Erasure is a good combo, like to compare this to. Essentially, what you get is you get the ability to, the Doctor Strange ult goes off, except he also has a chance to kill everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. It's like pre Maelstrom nerf, except it's buffed by quite a bit because it does way more damage than that.
Yeah,
and if he kills 4 people, you don't have to Scarlet Witch ult, because the Scarlet Witch ult doesn't take 5 seconds longer than the cooldown, or longer than the crowd control to go off. It goes off pretty much instantly. Right. So that ability to turn it off is actually, like, that ability to not use it is actually what I think makes it even better.
Yeah. 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 So. No, I agree with that. I'm excited to try it. Yeah. I look forward to being to understing the glory of the Sharknado. I want to. I mean, it's amazing.
I want to believe. I want to believe that this is true. Yeah.
Thematically, it's incredible. It's the best ult in the game, as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, make me a believer.
Well, let's cover the last couple things. I think all of these will be a lot quicker than those main topics. But how do you like the new map?
Oh, dude, I really like it. I like it a lot. Especially playing a lot of Ultron, and when I've played Widow on this map too, like there's just a lot of really nasty angles. There's a lot of nasty angles. There's a lot of really like interesting spaces. Shout out to TD2, who has inspired a lot of the content that we've made. He had a really interesting analysis on this map, which is that it's intentionally unfair, and that the first half of it is unfair for the attackers, and the second half of it is unfair for the defenders.
Interesting.
And it adds some really interesting like new tug of war mechanics and push and pull and like different, potential to like swap out heroes mid-match and things like that to account for different scenarios that the map forces you into. And I like it. I like how unique it feels in comparison to the other push maps.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to play more.
It's been really interesting that it feels like well, I mean, obviously it curves, but it feels like it's a lot more of a straight line, even though all of the convoy maps are straight. Like all of them are a single line that you're tracing all the way from one end to the other. But this one feels way more like narrow.
Yeah.
There's big rooms, there's big spots where that's not the case, But I think what it is that rather than like a lot of them where there are side pathways all the time, this one a lot of the side pathways are like long hallways, like very very like tightly enclosed right next to the main one. And so
Mhm.
they have like the main route that everyone has to go through, and then these very like long like narrow flank ambush corridors for you to go run and set up an ambush. So it's
Yeah.
interesting that it's giving flankers a way to exist in a map that otherwise is very tailored to this season's meta of
Yeah.
like the long poke shots and the flying, and like it's
Right.
really good for pokers and flyers, but it also gives flankers a way to exist
Yeah.
in certain spots. Like there's parts of the map where it's a lot harder for them, like
Yeah.
that big room towards the end. But I don't know. It's been very cool. It's also even just more busted for the penny team up because there are spots along that way, pretty
Mhm.
much at every major checkpoint. There's a
Yeah.
spot where you can set up both nests on either side
Yep.
and
Yep.
just
There's
be
like a little
almost
nook.
unstoppable. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That I've experienced that with a penny and against a penny, and oh my goodness, yeah, it's really nasty.
I've had quite a few games, even the entrance at the beginning of the map. I've had quite a few games playing Penny where you set up a nest on either side of the main doorway at the beginning, and then you camp out on one side where they might try to
Mm.
come out the side and put a bunch of mines there. I was like 32 and 4, and it took them
Jeez.
like the entire game, like literally like 3.5, 4 minutes just to get rid of me the first time to get out of spawn. It
Wow.
was gross because there's so many little spiders. So anyone walks out that door, they all converge and they're just dead. Like
Yeah.
it was, yeah. Um, Penny's busted, but
Yep. Yep.
it's
Yep.
a cool
Yep.
map. I like it. I
Yeah.
like it a lot.
Yeah. Same. Same. How about that combat chest though?
Yeah. Um, I like it. It's been fun.
I
I
mean,
like the surprise Jeff emojis at the beginning.
yeah, those are nice. As long as they're putting these out, like they're just getting more money from me as far as I'm concerned. Like I'm such a big fan. I'm such a big sucker, I should say, for these like meta progression mechanics and things like that.
Yeah.
I think they do like uh, this is a trend, right? Like Call of Duty is doing this right now,
Okay.
where you have a paid you have like free battle pass, which is just meaningless basically at this point. It's just garbage. Then you have a paid battle pass, and then you have like a premium paid battle pass, which unlocks like spins on the skins that you get in the paid battle pass.
Uh-huh.
Um, this is just a much better way of doing that. Don't do improvements on the battle pass because that just feels scummy. It feels like you're
Yeah.
giving me a worse version of something. Whereas this is just like, here's another battle pass. Like, okay,
Right.
sure, with the same quality of skins as the like quote real battle pass. Take my money, I guess.
Yeah.
So I love it.
Yeah. I'd much rather pay for another thing that I can decide if I want to do that other
Exactly.
thing or not than pay for a little bit more on the thing that I already bought. Like
Right, right.
the multiple tiers of anything just always is a no for me. I will never
Yeah.
do a deluxe edition. I will never do anything like that. It's
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
I'm not
Right.
paying for a couple in-game items when I bought
Right.
the game for
Right.
yeah,
And that's
most
just
of
the
that money.
developers showing you. I mean, I shouldn't say the developers. That is whoever made this decision at a higher level to maximize profits, showing you their hand, which is, hey, we made this content and we cut it intentionally because
Yeah.
you're a sucker and you're going to pay for it.
Right.
Like,
Which even
yeah,
though it's the same thing, it feels a lot better when they're like, "Hey, there's this other stuff that we made and we'll do that as a separate product." Rather
right, right.
than this
You at
should be part
least
of the main
have
game, but you have to get
exactly
the
right,
yeah.
right, right. Yeah. Whereas Call of Duty's doing like, hey, you know this like kind of cool skin we made? Well, here's the even cooler version of it that comes out at the same time. Like this wasn't a new thing.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, pardon my sick cough.
This is the one that we
Um,
actually designed and then we took
yeah,
off
right.
a bunch of bells and whistles and put the crappy one in the battle pass. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, I
No,
will say
so
I like the combat chess. I'm like 2/3 of the way through it already, which I
yeah,
shouldn't be based on the math that we did last week.
yeah,
And what I
same.
noticed was I don't know if anyone else noticed. Please let me know if you did. But at least for me, I had a weird XP bug the first couple days
Oh,
where the maximum XP counter where you're not supposed to be able to get past 7,200, which would be 4 levels a day, right?
oh yeah,
Uh,
it's just broken.
It just was back to zero halfway through the day. Like I had played a whole bunch. I'd
Oh.
gotten like 2 or 3 levels, and then it was back to zero. And I was like, and I checked, it wasn't anywhere near reset unless they have like a different reset time for this than they do
I
for
see what you're
everything
saying.
else.
Yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
wasn't anywhere near reset. So I mean, I'm cool with it because it was a bug that worked in my favor because
Yeah,
I just got to get like 3 more levels that day than I should have been allowed to. And
right.
then that happened again the second day. I don't think it's happened since, but um, I don't really
Yeah.
know what that was, but maybe my feelings about this combat chest are a lot rosier because I made so much progress in the first couple days, and if it was more time gated like they intended, like I wouldn't feel as good about it. But there's not like an end date for it if you buy it, so
See, that's the
I
thing.
I don't really care.
I
Yeah,
don't care about time gated stuff as long as you can't. Well, I'm sure I do a little bit. I don't really care about time gated stuff as long as you can't lose it. Like
yeah,
the difference between me
Rip
being
Wolverine.
really upset about Wolverine and like stuff like this is just that I can't get Wolverine now.
Yeah,
And I invested the time necessary to get him. Like that's the betrayal for me. But I understand at the end of the day, it's me misunderstanding. Well, it's not though.
no,
It's
it
they
that
put
that
the
was designed terribly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But anyway, I'm not going to go back to that dark place. Um, uh, moods. Speaking of my mood right now, I think the moods and emojis and stuff are cool. I like again, if they're going to be a free to play game that's heavily monetized with cosmetic stuff, like heck yeah, do cool, unique stuff like this.
yep,
And I paid money to get the Jeff ones in the combat chest, but like, and the Galacta ones too. But like, I like it.
yeah.
They're cool, and I think they're very fairly priced too. You know, $4. Like,
But I was gonna
sure,
say with the amount of free units that they give out for you, like
yeah,
I'm probably gonna
exactly,
get the Jeff moods. I'll probably do that at some point,
yeah,
because I mean, it's basically free to me. I got a bunch of free units, and
yeah,
I've been saving them, not getting a bunch of skins, and whatever, cool.
hmm,
I think both the moods and the emojis are just kind of that perfect like it's a very small feature that doesn't really matter and you can completely ignore it if you don't care about it. It's stuff that they can put in the shop and you can just be like, I don't care, I'm not going to do it.
yeah,
But it's way more fun than sprays. So they're going to be able to sell these where they aren't really going to be able to sell a bunch of sprays that are one-offs unless they just
yeah,
came up with amazing stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, it's just a win-win, I think. Like
Right.
if you don't want to spend money and they have things that you don't care about that they can sell, like great.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Just just give me some voice lines. Come
Yeah,
on, do it. Bring
I
it in. Bring. I know you got some high ticket voice actors in here, and I'm sure that that's a consideration because it's it's an international company, and you know hit stars like Nolan North probably don't come cheap. Troy Baker.
have you heard about the voice line leaks for next season?
I don't think so. No.
So there's some skins next season that are like lore related to what's going on in that season.
No.
And accompanying the data mines about the skins, there have been skin specific voice lines that
Ooh.
they've found. So if you wear some of these skins, you're gonna say different things because of what you're wearing. I'm not gonna go any further than that. I don't want to
Okay.
spoil it, but
Okay. Okay.
I think you're gonna think it's really cool. But
Yeah. Nice. All
yeah,
right.
it's a. I think next season is gonna be pretty cool.
Okay.
And if they're doing skin specific voice lines for skins that like are important, who knows? Maybe we'll get voice lines every once in a while.
Yeah.
They have to pull people in whenever they do new maps. Like they have to pull the whole
That's
cast in
true,
every time they do a new
and
map.
heroes
Yeah,
too, right? Because of
yeah.
all that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a duh. Of course that makes perfect sense. Also, though, there are so few freaking games that do this, and I'm pretty sure I've already mentioned it here. But give me new announcer bundles too. I
Yeah.
will spend. You don't understand, Eddies. You don't understand. My wallet is an open book for you. If you get freaking J.K. Simmons to do a J. Jonah Jameson announcer for me, or shoot, pay Sebastian Stan to give the most monotone, uncaring DGAF like announcement. I will pay too much money for that. Do you understand me?
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
Yeah, I see you lost again. Again.
I mean, I'll pay $10 to get Clark Gregg as Coulson as the announcer. Please do it.
Yeah, right?
Please do it. So this isn't the how to open Josiah's wallet episode. One last thing though, I wanted to say about season 2.5. This isn't actually about any of the changes. It's about the change that they made at the beginning of season 2. So in season 1, when they did the change where they let you get extra units for all your extra chrono tokens from the battle pass, I got 500 units. I was keeping track to see how much they're really giving you out. I got 500 units. I had done all the challenges through the whole season, right? I got 500. Cool. 500 free units. Then at the beginning of season 2, they announced that they were doing the weekly challenges and they changed some things up and reorganized how you get chrono tokens and stuff like that. And they said that they weren't increasing the amount of chrono tokens. It was just going to make it so that people had a more smooth experience getting it. Well, I'm not sure that's true because I have not played as much in season 2 as I did in season 1. Not drastically less, but looking at it, like theoretically, I should have been able to get more. I don't think I missed any in season 1. And I don't think I've missed any in season 2. But now that we're halfway through the season, I was looking at it and I am much further along in the battle pass than I was halfway through season 1. Halfway through season 1, I remember I was halfway through the battle pass.
Yeah.
Right? I was a little bit further than halfway through. Right now, I'm almost done with the season 2 battle pass.
Yeah.
And when I do the math, it looks like I'm on track to get 1,100 free units at the end of the season.
If you're right about that, that's insane. That is insane.
Yeah.
I do agree. Total conjecture really that I do feel like I'm further. I know that I didn't complete one of the 4 weekly challenges this season, and I still feel like I'm farther than I was. I'm more than halfway through.
Right.
I think if I'm like not considering. I'm trying to consider that I didn't get either of the 600, a comic book page ones.
Yeah. Well, if you put those together, they're still only like half a page of the.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe a little bit more than the half a page. I have 1 page left and then the 2 comic things.
Yeah.
And that's where, I had a page and a half and the 2 comic things.
Basically do
season 2.5.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Way more than halfway. So anyway, all that to say, some people were less than thrilled about the unit conversion because they weren't getting that much. And I'm thinking, you know what? Before they were giving you nothing. So like it's free units. But now it's free units. Like it's getting close to free skin level every season, which is pretty cool.
It's free real estate.
Thank you. You know what else it is?
What is it?
It's time for Sebastian to take it away.
Oh, okay.
Hey chat, Sebastian Stan here, armed and dangerous again.
Thank you, Sebastian. So welcome to season, well, it would be season 2, but we're just going to name it based on the rival season. So season 2.5 of Armed and Dangerous.
Whoa, yeah.
Now with Ultron. So this is going to be a weird one because we only have 1 week of data. So the data is very spotty and very skewed. So we might want to avoid doing it based on who we think is going to win because it might be pretty obvious at this point. So do you want to do it based on who you would pick to play?
Yeah, I feel like that's just better anyway, because then we're not playing a math game. Then we're playing like there's a little more nuance and personality to it.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah, now we have Ultron in the strategist category and all of his matchups, which by the way are insane. He wins a lot of them. His win rate is not like crazy. But the individual matchups against a lot of heroes, they're very lopsided. Like there's a couple of heroes that just body him, and then for the most part, he ekes out over like most of them.
Yeah.
Which a lot of it has to do with the teams that he's on right now are doing really well. But anyway, Armed and Dangerous. So this one, we cannot tell you for sure if this is going to happen until tomorrow when the mode comes out. But assuming that we can play custom games of Ultron's Battle Matrix, what we want to do for the next 3 weeks, we won't be able to do it the whole season, but for the next 3 weeks, we would like to have the winner be decided by who actually wins playing Ultron's Battle Matrix with these teams against each other.
Yeah.
So we're gonna tell you at the end of this whose team it says is more likely to win, but I'm not gonna officially say that either of us win until next week, when we either have played played a Ultron's Battle Matrix game of this, and we can tell you who won, or then we'll just say, okay, the team that was more likely to win won. So
right.
yeah, okay. With that, do we want to do 2-2-2 and then?
Yeah, let's do that again.
And then pick whichever one you would be likely to play.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then I'm starting you off with Vanguards. You get Thor or Groot.
Oh boy. Not Thor, I guess is my choice.
Yeah. And I get Doctor Strange or Hulk.
Oh wow, yeah, two of the best Vanguards in the game.
Doctor Strange. All right, let's go to Duelist. Your first Duelist is Magic or Star-Lord?
Oh, it's gotta. Oh man. See, I can't do it. I'm picking Magic because I've still never played Star-Lord.
Yep. And I get Hela or Iron Man.
Ooh.
Who do I actually play more out of those two? I think I play Hela more.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pick Hela. If we were playing by stats, I probably should play Iron Man.
Yeah.
But,
Definitely.
All right, Jeff or Rocket?
Ooh, this is a tougher pick for me. I've played more Jeff for sure. So, and I'm definitely playing him more right now. So Jeff.
Okay.
Even though that's not the meta take.
I was gonna say that was a huge sacrifice you just made by there.
Yeah, I know.
Made right there. I get Cloak and Dagger or Luna. You know what? I have always felt unhelpful on the hit scan for Luna, so I'm gonna pick Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah.
All right, Vanguard, second Vanguard. You get Penny or Emma?
Oh my gosh. Why do you
That's
make
a
me
hard
do
choice
these
for you.
things?
I know.
I know. I mean, Emma is my my true Vanguard main, but I'm gonna do Penny because I'm leaning into Bunker right now too. That feels fun.
And because you gave up Rocket, so you got to make it back somehow. With
Yeah,
your 60% win rate character now.
Sure.
Magneto or the Thing?
Do it, bro.
I gotta do.
You know.
No, shoot. But I have to go based on who I actually play. And I play the Thing more.
Magneto.
Oh no, I'm gonna lose this so bad. But you know what? I have no idea what the meta's gonna be like in Battle Matrix because it's a completely different game.
True.
So I gotta
games at once.
I gotta hope that we actually get to play Battle Matrix against each other. Because if we just do it by stats, I'm getting wrecked right now.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Fantastic or the Punisher?
Miss me with that stretchy boy. Give me the Punisher.
You would have had a really hard time if it was last season.
Yeah, Mr.
When
Fantastic
you had played neither of them.
Oh yeah. Also, Mr. Fantastic stats are pretty fantastic.
They're still good, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I get Iron Man or Psylocke, and I definitely play a lot more Psylocke.
Yeah.
Again, not a good choice for this meta if we're going by stats. Invisible Woman or Mantis, your last pick?
Invisible Woman, for sure.
All right, and I get Mantis or Adam Warlock. I definitely play a lot more Mantis than
I have a feeling you lose this for sure.
Whoa!
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Not by as much as I expected.
Yeah, it's never by much.
We've had some 3 or 4 percenters, but
yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true.
So Josiah wins at 50.55%.
Yep.
His MVP is Penny Parker.
Surprise of none.
Absolutely no one. And his LVP is Jeff.
Aw.
Sorry, Jeff. On my team, Mantis is my SVP.
Yeah, that's unexpected, but all right.
And
cool.
Well, I mean, stats wise, the Thing, Psylocke.
Well, yeah, but Doctor Strange is still.
Strange, yeah. I don't know. I feel like he always gets balanced out by how much he gets played, but he hasn't been played a ton recently. I don't know. Interesting. And my LVP is Cloak and Dagger, which is pretty typical. They are very impactful in games, but they're also on a lot of teams, and that means they're on a lot of teams.
And a lot of teams lose.
All right. Well,
cool.
I'm going to save this team comp, and hopefully tomorrow or the next day we can actually play against each other with these teams.
Yeah, heck yeah.
We'll let you know next week what happens.
But for now, on to the main topic of
The other main topic. The
the other
second
main
main topic.
topic of the
Main
balance
topic
post.
2, Electric Boogaloo. All right, so for main topic 2, we are talking about the hero hot list that came out for the first half of season 2 and the balance patch for the second half of season 2.
Sure are.
So yeah, hero hot list. What do we have to say about this? First thing I see is Emma Frost has a 31% pick rate.
Yeah, I was
Quick play at least.
Yeah. I was gonna say I really only have 2 major observations, and one is that holy crap, to be the highest pick rate and also have that kind of win rate is nuts.
Is why they nerfed her, yes.
Right, but like to the extent that they did, it's I don't feel like her nerf is super substantial, which yay.
Yeah.
as someone who Emma Frost is my favorite character, so I'm super happy with that. But in comp too, like observation 1 is Emma and Rocket to have that kind of pick rate and that kind of win rate is insane, and the fact that Rocket did not get nerfed but got buffed through the addition of the Penny Rocket team up, like that's wild. This is the
Rocket
first
is
time
their favorite character.
Yeah,
Hawkeye and
for
Rocket
sure.
are their favorite characters.
Yeah, Hawkeye and Rocket are their favorite character, and for some reason, Hawkeye is no one else's favorite character. But yeah, that's insane. The other observation is that like it's not really like there's nothing else that's surprising, honestly.
Yeah.
And
We
even
should,
when you
we should give some numbers on the things that we were talking about before we move on. But
Sure.
let's hold that thought. So in comp, Emma's sitting at 24% win rate, or no, sorry, 24% pick rate and a 51.69% win rate. Rocket
Nice.
is sitting at it as in third place on pick rate because Cloak and Dagger is still first at like 27.5. But
Yeah.
Rocket's sitting at third place on pick rate at almost 22% pick rate, and he's at a 55.36 win rate. He is the highest win rate character in comp for season 2, followed very closely by Storm, Magic, and then Black Panther a little bit further behind. But
yeah.
Those are the numbers for you.
You have the crazy visual of 21.93% pick rate down to 1.98, 4.29, 3.17. Like all of the next ones, all the way down to, you guessed it, Emma Frost. If you're sorting by win rate, like everybody's pick rate is super low with only a couple random ones in there, namely Emma Frost and Cloak and Dagger having really high pick rates. But
the
crazy.
The two of them in comp are the only characters with a 10% pick rate or higher that have over a 50% win rate.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's not even close. Like they're way over 50%. The other thing that's interesting to me is actually a quick play stat. The competitive stuff looks pretty much like what you would expect, but man, we're sleeping on Mr. Fantastic, at least in quick play.
Yeah.
He was at a 57% win rate last season.
Yeah.
Across all rank, in quick play, so there are no ranks. But my goodness, and then Rocket at 56.77. He's doing even better in quick play than in ranked. And then Hulk, Storm, Mantis. It like the quick play win rate characters look very different than the comp ones.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, as a quick play king, I should pay more attention to this, I guess. Still not going to get me to play Mr. Fantastic, though. Maybe the battle chest skin will, but
I was gonna say you're gonna get the skin in the
yeah.
next few days. Like you gotta take it for a spin.
Yeah.
Realize
They just need to release
style and hate yourself.
They need to release a voice pack though, so that I don't have to hear waha waha.
I'm telling you, it's a buff. It's a buff.
Yeah. But yeah, my other observation is just going based off of these stats on the official hero hot list and the rivals meta hot list. Surprisingly, I think to probably many people, that there isn't a huge difference between what we're seeing on the, I mean, outside of Penny being a massive outlier to that. But like when you look at win rates, competitives all roll, like Magic is still, is like Mr. Fantastic, Magic, Mantis, Storm, Iron Man, like Hulk, they're all still in the same places, which I think, especially for Magic and Mr. Fantastic, who don't have a ton of range, you might be surprised by that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Are you? Like, do you find that strange?
I do. But there's some effect with Magic where she just seems impenetrable to anything going on in the meta, which is weird because it's not the case when you're playing her. There are certainly games where you're like, well, half the team is in the air. I'm probably not doing this. But I don't know what it is about her. I would love to be able to figure it out. But her win rate is just always way above 50%. Like regardless of what's going on, regardless of if the meta is favorable to her or not. I think people just don't know how to deal with her. Like she just has so many like invulnerable frames with the portals and then dashing all. Yeah, she can just get in and get out and have 350 to 400 health while doing it. Like I don't know. I think just when you get going as her, there's not much you can do. So yeah.
Iframes and teleportation. Who would have known that those were insanely powerful abilities to have?
Yeah, but also very, there's a lot of movement tech. There's a lot of like, it's very like frenetic is probably the word I'd use for it. It's like there's a lot going on when you're doing it. So I think that scares people away. But I think unlike a lot of other like really high skill floor characters, I think it actually scares them away instead of people still trying it and tanking their win rate, if that makes sense. That might be part of why her win rate's higher, because her play rate is always so low. Last things I wanted to point out is well, I'm sorry to do this to you, Jeff Mains, but I'm looking at Grandmaster for season 2. And even so, we're talking about good players, and it's only a 3% pick rate. So the people playing Jeff at this level are playing Jeff. Like they're very dedicated to it. And he was still the lowest win rate strategist, sitting at 46%. And the only other ones that were that low had way higher pick rates, right? The only strategist that's similar to him as far as low pick rates go is Adam Warlock, who's almost at 50%, and Mantis, who is the highest win rate at 54%. So, like it or not, the Jeff changes that we're about to talk about, like, even those of you who are really good, like, it was still not consistent enough. So, again, that I think you're right too. That I'm not sure that has changed much yet.
Yeah, a little bit, but not. You do see maybe not a Grandmaster across all competitive ranks, at least according to Rivals Meta. He has gone up a few placement points, but I'm very sensitive to the Jeff changes, but we'll get into it. Why don't we just jump into the balance post, go down the list, and
we'll get to Jeff all the way at the very end.
So we'll get to Jeff at the end.
20 minutes.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm sensitive to the Jeff changes too, but I also we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
All right.
But first, let's kick off the Vanguards with Captain America. So, he got a bit of a nerf. So they adjusted his base health from 600 to 575. They increased the delay of his shield recovery from 2 seconds to 4 seconds after unleashing Living Legend. And then they increased the energy cost of Freedom Charge, which is his ultimate, from 2,800 to 3,000. So straight up nerf across the board. Captain America is one of the nastiest people to compete against. He's still he still is, but for season 2, at least looking at Grandmaster, he has the highest win rate of all characters at a 55.28%, which is absolutely insane.
Big.
Yeah. That's approaching that territory that Nick was saying, where you're like, all right, drop the hammer. And they didn't really. Like, these aren't super crazy.
And he was almost 53% across the board when you put it at all ranks. So I mean, he was a big deal last season. And another thing to see with with balance changes a lot of the times is those things will get more obvious at higher ranks. And so you've got him where it's a pretty good example of like as people get better with him, he got way better, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So definitely something they needed to address.
Yep. But moving on to Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange just got a straight up buff. Heck yes. So satisfying to see. We've already talked about it. Daggers of Danak got which is his primary. They adjusted the damage fall off. So from starting at 10 meters and reducing to 62.5% at 20 meters to now starting at 10 meters still to reducing to 80% at 20 meters. So longer range, which is great. The bigger deal to me, though, is removed the range damage fall off of Maelstrom of Madness. So now you can clip people and delete people who think that they are out of danger, and they most certainly are not anymore with the removal of the damage fall off there. So super exciting to see that.
Yeah, Doctor Strange is a big winner in this patch for sure. So Emma Frost got quite a nerf in a couple different places, but to start it out, they actually gave her a buff. Her telepathic pulse, her main attack, went from a 15.5 meter range, which is so incredibly specific. I really want to know why that extra half meter had to be there. I wonder if it was to be able to like outrange someone specific.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Right.
But anyway, that's gone. It's 18 meters now. And playing Emma, this is actually the thing that I've noticed the most, even though she got a bunch of nerfs. The thing I've noticed the most is, oh my goodness, I can hit people further away, and it's great.
Right.
That was her one thing that kind of bugged me last season, is I felt like people were constantly out of range. And this isn't enough to make her absolutely broken snipe flyers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But especially in a season where everyone's a little bit further away, it's nice to be able to inch a little bit further.
This is like the one token update for the Vanguards, who I can't believe that neither of us mentioned this in the like overall thoughts, but like Vanguards, I think, are suffering the most. If any like role is struggling right now, it's Vanguards, who don't really have any range to or like any hit scan abilities or anything like that to deal with flyers. So this is like the one token update for Vanguards specifically that are like, yeah, you could get a flyer a little bit further away now.
Yeah. And then everything else is a nerf to her. So you've got her shield went down from having 500 health to 400 health,
which is a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to change the times where you're using it to stop a Iron Man ult or something, and you're just flicking it up really quick. But for when you're using it more as a traditional shield, it's definitely going to be felt. And then they increased the cooldown of the Carbon Crush, her chokeslam thing, from 5 seconds to 6 seconds. And that seems weird because it's already an ability that has a really long cooldown in an 8-second diamond form.
Yeah.
But what this does is with the animation time for using it,
you have like
it makes it
now
almost impossible to do it twice now.
Yeah.
You would have to hit it and like immediately hit E, and then also immediately hit it again right when it's about to end. So they're trying to get rid of how kind of frequent it was to get 2 chokeslams out.
Yeah, for sure.
It's still technically possible, but it's extremely difficult now.
Yep.
And then her last change is her kick got a damage nerf, both in the initial kick itself, which went from 50 to 40, and then also the extra damage that you got when you hit someone into a wall has gone down from 100 to 90. So still doing 130 if you kick someone into a wall total, but not 150. So that's a different breakpoint there.
Yeah. The shield one is the biggest nerf in here to me. Just losing 100 health in a shield is a lot. However, I mean, I guess I haven't played her a ton this week because I've been playing Ultron so much, but the couple games that I did play with her, I felt like I was able to do all of the things that I love to do as Emma Frost and was successful. So I don't know, maybe my opinion will change over time and I'll really start noticing, as I play more of Emma, I'll really start noticing how big of a nerf that shield health hit was. But I don't know.
I agree with you. I think she hasn't felt like, oh man, they really hurt her. I think it just took a little bit of the ceiling out of her, right? Like the shield reduces her sustain ability a little bit, like to stay in the fight, like soaking up damage a little bit. You can't just stand in the middle as often. But
yeah. Moving on to Groot. So he just gets a nerf down the line. They decreased the damage of his primary from 70 to 65, and then increased the cooldown of his Ironwood wall, which is his main big health wall, from 8 seconds to 12 seconds.
that's big.
So that's a significant one, man.
Yeah.
I don't play a lot of Groot, but dang, I that hurts on paper.
Yeah, well, that thing is a core part of his kit, right? That's where
Yeah.
he's getting all that crazy bonus health by people just fighting near him. And it's also the one that has a lot more health. So if you are going to try to block people into an area, that's the one that you use to do it, because it doesn't go down very fast. So him not being able to do that as often is a huge nerf.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Next we got Magneto, who makes it out with just a buff.
Yeah.
So Magneto, they increased the charging speed of his rings from 4 seconds to stack to 3 seconds to stack. So you're gonna get that right click more often, and he's gonna be doing more damage because of that.
I guess this is also another potential little snack for vanguards to do more damage against flyers too, because that has, I don't know if it has, I don't think it has infinite range, but it certainly has a lot of range, his right click. So
yeah, and he's definitely one of the better like anti-flyer like poke tanks for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, let me take a look at that really quick and see his right click. Where is it? There we go. Mag cannon, 120 meters a second. It doesn't tell you on here if there's damage to fall off, but it doesn't look like there is.
Yeah, well, then there you go. Cool. Magneto able to snipe some of them flyers out of the sky then. Moving on to Thor, one of our most controversial boys this season. So he took, they say a tweak, but I mean, his survivability taking a minor hit. I don't know about either of those things. They adjusted Hammer Throw to be a standard ability. They removed the Thor Force cost and the universal cooldown. They gave it an ability cooldown and made it 6 seconds. Thor now gains 1 Thor Force from each Hammer Throw enemy hit, and they decreased the throw hit damage from 70 to 45 and the return damage from 30 to 20. So a lot of tweaks there. And then they decreased the shield value gained while consuming Thor Force, adjust the bonus health gained from each Thor Force consumed from 100 to 75, and they adjusted the maximum bonus health from 200 to 150.
Yeah, let's talk about these separately.
Sure.
Yeah, so the first one, the hammer change, which is really a like playstyle change, right?
Yeah.
So they're previously, I think I mentioned it last episode. Previously, there were kind of 2 ways to play Thor. There was one where you were diving a backline and you were using a lot of your dash and you were using a lot of the hammer throw because you're trying to chase people down, hit them as they were running away.
Yep.
That playstyle got a huge hit with this because now they can only throw the hammer once every 6 seconds, and they were spamming it out quite a bit. Yeah. And it also does way less damage, so you're not going to confirm as many kills on strategists running away. For that version of Thor, they just decimated it, right?
Yeah.
The other version of Thor was the one where you're trying to get as much uptime on what's it called? Lightning runes?
Awakening rune,
which is the one where he becomes a ranged DPS character for a little while and spits out a bunch of ranged things. And kind of understandably, in a season where they're putting a bunch of flyers in the air, they want him to be able to do a little bit more doing that. But those things move really slow. It is really hard to hit. People are moving around the air. But that gets a massive buff from this change because now you have an extra way to get Thor Force. You have one less thing consuming Thor Force. And in order to use this ability, you have to be at max Thor Force, right? So you now pretty much can have almost 100% uptime on this, which is very cool, but is not necessarily the way that a lot of people want to play Thor. And I know, Josiah, you have thoughts about that.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like Thor's like lore play style, I guess. Like, yes, God of Thunder, not God of Hammers.
Now he's
It's
really
like,
not the god of hammers. Yeah.
yeah, he's really not the God of Hammers. I just think his super heavy dive brawl play style was really fun and was one of the reasons why people loved him so much. I think he was a menace for sure. So they're trying to reduce that capability of his, but making him a lightning bot, like Awakening Rune bot, is just, I don't know. It's a miss. It's a big miss for me. Not to mention the bonus health reduction, not only from consuming Thor Force in general, but now not being able to get it with another ability in his hammer throw. Like, I I just think this is the one change so far, I think, in like the game's history that I think is just a mistake. And
Yeah.
I'm curious to see. There's no way they leave it like this.
No, I don't think so. I do really like though the removal of the universal cooldown, which is happening because it's not Thor Force ability anymore. But
Yeah.
honestly, I think one of the like unique mechanics for a character that is probably like the least fun out of anything is the universal cooldown on Thor. I've already complained about it
Yeah.
in a
Yep.
previous episode, and then they got rid of
I
it
remember that.
on an ability last season, and it made him feel so much better. But they
Yeah.
just built this thing into Thor where for some reason him out of everyone, half of his abilities would just mean you couldn't do anything for a second every time. And I
Yeah.
don't know what they thought he was so powerful about that they were trying to compensate by just stunning him from himself all the time. Um, so I'm glad that that's going away even more. I think now it's only on like one thing left.
Yeah.
I think it's just on the dash now. But uh, yeah, and I'm really a big fan of the Awakening Ruin one. So I want this to work. But for me, what happens is the bonus health change, the health nerf, is so drastic that you just can't play him. He's not a tank anymore. He's a DPS. Like
Yeah.
that, they've moved him into this weird mid-rangey DPS, which he already was kind of a hybrid between Vanguard and DPS anyway. But now they've just made it where his survivability is such that you cannot be protecting your team by taking it for them. Like you
Yeah.
just die so fast. So I like the Awakening Rune playstyle, but I haven't been able to try it yet. I've played a few games as Thor, and I haven't been able to try it because all I was doing was dying super fast. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and just being caught in a respawn loop.
I'm not a good I'm not good enough at Thor to know this myself, but I know that real Thor mains too, that the hammer throw was a key component of his animation cancel combos as well. And that
Mhm.
now being on a 6-second cooldown eliminates some of
Yes.
that like damage nuke potential that he had. So yeah. I'm not a fan of these kinds of changes in general. I think to like I'm going to say that, and then we'll see when they do something in the future to a character that I want to be better, and I'm going to love it. But like, I don't know, like reworks are like a year in plus kind of thing for me. Unless something is really they just totally goofed and hit the red button to release a character when they had no business doing it. Like, I don't know, Thor didn't seem that overpowered. I know that they really wanted to break up the dive comp, and Thor was like a key component of that. But I just,
Yeah,
Godfather, look how they massacred my boy, kind of thing.
yeah. I think that's a really good point on this, and I think why probably part of the reason why it's so baffling for the community too, and like all the Thor players, is that usually reworks are for characters that are so bad that there's no way to
Yeah,
salvage what's going on there. And so they're like, you know what, we're just gonna make a better character and use the same character model, right?
yeah,
Usually reworks are not the character has a 53% win rate and is good in this meta, so we're just gonna completely change their identity.
yeah.
That's usually what nerfs are for, or buffing
Right,
counter picks. And they
right.
normally do that really well.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
this one feels like there was some character designer that really liked Awakening Runes and was like, I got to get this change in here and have him have more uptime on this. And then some other designer came in and was like, that's going to be broken. So if you do that, I'm going to do the survivability nerf. And they were like, okay, fine. And like, I know that's not what happened, but
Yeah,
this one feels more designed by committee, where it was like, well, we have to balance him out if we if we give one play style. But it is also such a huge nerf to the other
Right.
way you can play him. It just doesn't end up feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to do a rework on a character that's good. I don't get it.
And even on the gameplay reveal, they did this when I mentioned like the response to the response last week. When they dropped the gameplay reveal of this change, I remember watching it and being like, this looks super boring. Like they're just like spamming Awakening Rune and lightning, 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 lightning. And then of course the comments were like so he's just like he does one thing now instead of being able to do multiple things given the context.
Right.
So yeah. I like I said, if they stand their ground on this, I'm going to be really shocked. I don't know if they would revert it completely. That would be kind of crazy, or if they'll decrease the cooldown of the hammer throw or revert what will they change about this? I have no idea, but I think they're going to change something.
I think it's pretty clear that what they wanted was the Awakening Room uptime, and they wanted to make sure they didn't break him even more by buffing him when he was already super strong.
Yeah.
So I feel like that element is going to stay. Like the element of the hammer giving Thor Force rather than taking it is probably going to stay. But I don't see any way that the health stays this way. And I don't think sentiment wise that they can get away with leaving the hammer throw where it is. So
No.
I expect this might be one of the things we see in the random mid-season balance patch, that they just fix a character or two. I feel like we'll see something with Thor.
Yeah.
But we gotta keep moving.
Yeah.
Let's
Speaking of boys that they do weird things with in this game, you want to kick off the duelists?
Yeah. So Hawkeye is getting his regularly scheduled large array of buffs because
straight down the line buffs.
Yeah. So we got 3 of them for you this time. That might be slightly more than he's had in every other season, but so we've got. First, they increased the base damage of just his regular arrow from 32 to 34. And you got to remember that with his passive, this is going to scale quite a bit, having that extra damage. And then also with his 2 times crit, this is going to scale quite a bit.
Yeah.
So this doesn't look like a lot, but it's actually quite a bit.
Now he did lose his team up anchor damage bonus.
That is true, and some of this is just compensating for that.
Yeah. But
yeah. So that change honestly probably fits with most of the team up anchor changes that they make, where it's probably just mathematically pretty close to just being a wash. But some of these other things are not. So here's another one that's probably based on the team up anchor going away. They increased the projectile damage of the blast arrow that you forgot he has from 15 to 16. And they increased the spell field damage on that from 32 to 34. But here's the big one here. This is just an actual buff for Hawkeye, not just keeping him where he was. They increased the maximum focus from 70 to 75. So there's more focus that you can get from charging up his arrow, which would seem like, okay, more damage, but it's going to take you longer, right? Well, no. So they increased the charging speed while you're aiming at an enemy from 100 a second to 108 a second, and based on my napkin math, that keeps it exactly the same amount of time to charge it up full, which makes this just a buff. And then they changed the charge fall off speed from 30 a second to 32 a second. So that's probably also keeping it the same. So the charge up and charge down takes the same amount of time, but your maximum focus that you can get to is higher, which means that he is doing even more damage with the charge shot. So who knows? I haven't sat down and done all of the math, because with Hawkeye's passive, it is very complex. It could be that this is actually just he's staying the same, and this is all just making up for the team up damage bonus. But I don't think so. I think this focus change is a little bit more, little bit more than that.
Well, and he may have lost the team up anchor, but he gained a freeze someone in place team up, which allows him who has someone who has one shot potential to now take fish in a barrel one shots. Like I said, I haven't seen a lot of the Hawkeye freezing arrow team up, but like, my goodness, for the Hawkeye players out there, y'all eating good this season. I'll tell you what.
It's gotten me playing Hawkeye. Me, who every week complains about Hawkeye existing and says don't play him. I've been playing a little bit.
Yeah.
Anecdotally, and now this is just week 1, and this isn't a season where you would expect he'd be doing even better because it's a poke season.
Yeah.
His win rate's at 44.5% in competitive, and on the hero hot list for season 2, it was at 48 something.
Huh.
So that
Interesting.
looks like he's doing worse, but I don't know that that's gonna be something that holds up. I think
Yeah.
maybe people aren't playing a bunch of them yet.
Right.
In quick play, on the other hand, a way smaller sample size. There's only like 3,000 games of this. People who are submitting their stats to Rivals Meta are not playing quick play apparently.
Yeah.
But in quick play, he's at like a 58% win rate.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to push on through. So
Yes,
Hela is next, and they increased the charge capacity of Night Sword Thorn from 8 to 10. So just gave her a 20% buff there. Again, that 2 Night Sword Thorn doesn't sound like a ton on paper, but when you think of it as a 20% buff to her primary attack potential DPS, it's big. And I've heard Hela players say that this is a big deal too.
Yeah, I mean, if you reload 20% less of the time across an entire match, that's a lot, right?
Yep.
Then we got Human Torch. Human Torch, they are trying to roll back what they did with them last time a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he was gross. So his fire cluster, his main left click attack, is going down from 7 damage per hit to 6. And those numbers sound really small. That is because he has 6. No, wait. How many rounds per thing?
Oh, I have no idea, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you know what? I don't see it on. I really wish that their hero descriptions were better.
They don't want you to know.
It's like a shotgun. So it's that. Imagine it's a shotgun and it's going from 7 per hit to 6. It's still doing a lot more than that. But then you've got the charge speed of his blazing blast. They've increased from 2 seconds to 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And that is his right click. So you're not going to get his right click as often, which those are the core of his kit, setting up all the walls, setting up all stuff like that. So that is actually pretty significant. Yeah. And then they decrease the shield value gained from his dive, from the Flaming Meteor, from 75 to 50. And they increase the cooldown from 15 to 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be diving on people as much, and he's not going to be as survivable when he does.
Yep. Pretty intense nerfs across the board. Someone I am thankful did get some intense nerfs, though. Iron Fist. Thank goodness. Lowered the dragon's defense, damage, block bonus, health conversion rate from 1.5 to 1.3, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it matters. They decreased the maximum bonus health converted from damage blocked from 200 to 175, and they slightly decreased the dash distance of can't say that thing, but his basically his lock on kick you till you die ability. They decrease the dash distance on the Z axis when there is no target. So they nerfed his ability to fly, which as in the maybe surprising in a potential flyer meta, but my goodness, this was so freaking annoying. And then they also reduced the dragon's defense cooldown reduction from that ability. Yeah, his primary from 1.5 to 1 second.
Yeah, so the flying nerf. This is significant because it mentions that they nerfed the dash distance upwards
on the Z
when
axis,
there is no target, right?
Yeah.
So if he's already at the point where he's fighting someone, he can still stay in the sky. So the thing you want to do if you're playing a flyer now is realize that if you're up high, he will have a very hard time getting to you in the first place. He is still, just like Spider-Man, extremely dangerous if he does get to you, though.
Right.
That hasn't changed.
And you can now, if you can break away from his lock on, you can be okay. He can't just keep surfing the freaking air waves to you. So
now his left click, I believe, still has a little bit of a dash. Yeah, he has like a 6 meter pull-in distance on the left one. So he can still keep up with the left click the same as he could before, but that dash, like, if I can find it again, that dash has a 12-meter dash. So that's the way that he's staying with you. If you like Ultron dash out of the way, or Iron Man fly really fast, like, so that's actually pretty significant. You can actually escape him now.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's not as defensive, so he's not as much of a tank, which is really good for everyone fighting him on the ground. So,
Yep.
yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Iron Man.
Speaking of,
They nerf him a little bit, which is partially because he's getting a team up, right? So he's now got, I think, a 5% damage boost across the board, and something else. But no, actually, I think his is just a 5% damage boost. But yeah, so they decrease the projectile damage of his third repulsor blast. Right, he goes right. The third one.
thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. The third one went from 50 damage to 45, and they decreased the spell field damage from 60 to 55. So instead of doing 110, if you got hit by both, you're doing 100.
No worries though, Iron Man mains. We all know that's not what you're doing anyway. You're all doing Unibeam. So
True. But I mean, he creates a lot of damage over time, kind of like Squirrel Girl with that. That's definitely something, yeah. And then they reduced the armor overdrive maximum bonus health from 100 to 50.
50% nerf is big, but he feels even better this season somehow. So,
yep, he's got support up in the skies now.
Yeah, honestly, speaking of still somehow feels even better, Namor is next. Also getting nerfs, but some well. Yeah, anyway, you'll see.
It's a mix.
So they increase the cooldown of Blessing of the Deep from 15 seconds to 20 seconds. So that's a significant nerf, reducing his survivability. But they expand the Horn of Proteus, his ultimate ability, the inner circle radius from 3 to 3.5, and the outer circle radius from 8 to 9. And then they decrease the outer circle radius hit damage from 200 to 180. So they increase the radius overall. They decrease by a little bit, 20, the damage that you take if you're in the outer radius. But the expansion of that inner radius means that he's getting one-hit kills more often now with that. And then they did adjust the Monstro Spawn damage fall off, starting at 20 meters, reducing to 30% at 40 meters, to now starting at 20 meters and reducing to 50% at 40 meters. So less of a sniper Monstro Squid.
No, more of a sniper Monstro Squid. They reduced the fall off.
Oh my gosh, that's
always backwards. Yeah. This is an increase in damage to the regular monster spawns. This is just a buff to the regular spawns. The reason for that,
reducing to 30%. Yeah.
The reason for that is that they're actually in the team up balance changes. They took the Gamma Monstro and they increased the cooldown from 15 seconds to 20 seconds. So they're trying to nerf the Hulk one a little bit, but increase his regular one's damage output. So that's partially why he feels better. He doesn't feel like you need Hulk as much now. And those monster spawns are great for taking out pesky things like flyers. So
yes, and honestly, there is a lot of Hulk right now anyway. So he's
feeling pretty good, but he's
getting a lot of use.
He got some nerfs and some improvements there. One other thing I want to mention, we just talked about the balance change from the team up. We should have mentioned with Iron Fist, they decreased his. This is another big hit for him. They decreased the damage boost he gets by being the team up anchor with Luna, which is not a team up I've pretty much ever seen, but he still always gets that damage boost because it exists. They reduced that damage boost from 15% to 10%. So I mean, he took a 5% damage nerf, like hit across the board, which is a big deal too. So after Namor, we got Psylocke, and this breaks my heart, but she's getting a nerf, even though she wasn't oppressive. Come on, why? But decrease the retrieval damage of wing shurikens from 14 to 12 per hit. So she shoots out 5 of these. So that's really a 10 damage nerf to the return. So she's still doing, the same amount when you hit them the first time, but the time back she's doing 10% or 10 flat, 10 less damage. And then this is the one that really matters though. The other one is not that bad. It doesn't usually change the breakpoints on her. This one sucks. They decreased the invisibility duration of her stealth ability from 3 seconds to 2 seconds. And that is a huge change when you're talking
Yeah.
such a small number. Um, it feels really bad. I don't understand why they did this, and I want it back.
Yeah, this is a surprising nerf to me, especially when her stats aren't like,
Right.
super crazy. I mean,
Yeah. We just had a whole season of dive metas, and her of all people was not like even included on those teams most of the time. Like she was
right.
not. It was Spider-Man and it was Iron Fist. They were everywhere. She was not the one even making the teams most of the time. I don't understand why they made her not really be able to escape or set up. It,
Yeah.
it just kind of murders her playstyle.
I would love, I know it'd be super risky for them to do, but do a retrospective. I would love a developer dive into like pick like 3 character adjustments and like explain to us what went into you making those adjustments. I think that would be really, really interesting
Yeah.
to see like where some of this kind of like weird stuff comes from.
Yeah. We got a little bit of it on the dev vision. A lot of the times they'll highlight a couple things and kind of explain
Yeah,
why. But we don't it's not usually the weird ones that we get those for. It's
exactly.
the ones
Right,
that are
right.
pretty
It's the ones
obvious.
that are obvious. Right, right.
Right. And most games when the devs make a weird balance decision, it's really easy to go, well, they have internal data that we don't have and maybe something's broken that like Rivals meta doesn't see or whatever. But with Rivals, they show us the internal data at the end of the season. So by the time they make these changes, we're sitting looking at, I mean, obviously not as detailed as they're looking at.
Yeah,
But we're looking at the data that they're showing and like
right.
making these decisions off of. I don't understand this one at
And
all.
usually it matches up. Usually low pick
Yeah.
rate, like either like low pick rate, low win rate, or high pick rate, high win rate things get nerfed and buffed accordingly.
Yeah.
But then you have Psylocke, who's middle of the road, getting straight nerfs.
Yeah.
But Squirrel Girl, here's one. She has the lowest. She's the, I think, third lowest win rate of any character in the game. Third lowest win rate of any character in the game in competitive. Just above Black Widow and Jeff. So she's getting a
She's
buff.
the lowest at Grandmaster too.
Yeah, nasty. So they're increasing the capacity of her primary from 10 to 12. They're decreasing the cooldown of her mammal bond from 12 to 10, which is her cooldown reset. And then they're optimizing the user experience of Squirrel Blockade, Tail Bounce, and Unbeatable Squirrel Tsunami. Do you know what that means? That the user experience?
I think they just feel smoother. Like
Okay.
I played a couple games of Squirrel Girl to see what that was, and it's hard because you don't have the side by side, right?
Yeah.
But it felt like the like arrow UI for determining where you were going to send the squirrels was a little bit snappier and didn't like lag as much, like feel as like heavy. I don't know how to describe it other than everything feels a little bit lighter. Like you hit tail bounce, and I think you I think you just do it more smoothly.
Okay.
It feels good.
Yeah.
The big thing here, though, is getting more ammo for someone
Yeah.
that is just constantly chucking things, and
Well,
also getting the cooldown
yeah.
reset, which is another free reload,
Yep.
like more often. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Squirrel Girl, I mean, her obviously the data shows her win rate is really low, but man, she is freaking annoying.
Yeah.
When you've got a good one, just lobbing bombs downrange, slinging her
and
nuts.
she's another one that is very different in quick play. She does a lot better in quick play.
Yeah, naturally.
Quick play, she's still sub 50%, but she's at 48.61 instead of like 44.
Our Lord Squirrel Girl editor is eating good.
Yeah, I told him, I was like, this is your season. Like get Squirrel Girl going. All right, so Star-Lord. So
Yuck.
This change at the end of last episode, I gave up because you told me this was coming.
Yep.
And you know what? This week I decided to grow and not let it destroy me, but make me stronger. So I started playing Star-Lord because I was like, I would rather be on the side that's like, yes, this is broken, rather than be on the side that I'm normally on, which is that's broken. Uh, so Star-Lord, if you didn't think his ult was good enough already, they're increasing, the energy cost of it a little bit, 3,400 from 31. But the bigger increase is that instead of a 30-meter range, it has a 40-meter range.
40-meter range.
40-meter range. That's as far away as Hawkeye's focus works. So if you play Hawkeye, you know how far away 40 meters is. That's quite a distance.
Mm-hmm.
But then they also reduce the damage fall off of said ultimate from 60% at 40 meters, which doesn't make sense because it was only at 30 before, but 60% at max range to 75% at 40 meters. So the couple times I've played Star-Lord, I've definitely gotten even more use out of his ultimate. He can do it while being way safer than he could before.
Yep.
Yeah. He's gross.
Yep, already one of the most terrifying ults to face in the game. You just have to run for cover, and now
you got to
that
run
is
10
even
meters
harder to do. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man, Storm just getting a buff. Crazy to see with her being the highest win rate duelist in the game. But okay, they're just buffing her ultimate from doing 150 per second to 160 per second. Not sure what that's about, but cool.
Yeah. I had heard a little bit of Storm players saying that as crazy as the ultimate feels to go up against when you're using it, you notice that people get out of it a lot. So just this damage increase is going to make it just a little bit more certain that people die, I guess.
I don't feel like she needed that, but cool.
All right, and then we got the Punisher, which this is another headliner for sure.
Oh my, yeah, this is the Punisher is my number one winner from these the balance updates.
I want to do that at the end and just give a couple winners and losers, but Punisher's definitely going to be on that list. So first, they his ultimate they they reduced the amount that he gets slowed when he's using it, right?
Yep.
So when he has the ultimate active, he used to have a 20% movement decrease. Now it's only 10%. And when he's firing in his ultimate, it used to be a 40% movement decrease, and now it's only 30%. So they did this same change with Hawkeye last season, I believe, where they increased his strafe distance or his strafe speed, and that made a huge difference, right? When it's always one of those buffs that doesn't feel like it's a big deal, but it is a huge deal when you're playing the character to be able to move faster while doing a bunch of damage. The Punisher is not going to be able to be outrun in his ultimate as easily as that is the way to get away from it is run around and hide behind a corner. So
yep.
But this is really the big one. So his assault rifle adjudication, they increased the magazine size from 30 to 40, and then they increased the single hit damage from it from 18 to 19, and slightly reduced the spread while firing. I'm not sure which one of those three changes is really the biggest one because they are all huge.
Yeah. I think they don't put a number on reducing the spread while firing, but he just feels like a laser beam. Like that change specifically is super gross. I mean, the magazine size, obviously 25% increase is insane as well. I think Punisher is going to end up being like one of, if not the best duelist to pick right now with as the poke meta stands. My goodness.
Yeah. I mean, the combo between the single hit damage going up and the magazine size getting bigger means that that's actually quite a damage output buff.
Yeah.
The couple times that I'd played Punisher before, the biggest reason that kept me from playing him was that I felt like I was just constantly reloading. Like it felt like all I did on his primary was reload. And I mean, they only added 10 more bullets, and he shoots very fast, but he shoots 10 rounds a second. But that means you have an extra second every time before you have to reload now. That feels so much better, and you're getting a bunch more damage out. I mean, 10 extra times 19, like you're getting 190 extra damage on body shots before you have to reload. That's a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. So he feels really good this season. He's also just primed with all the flyers and all the pokers
Mhm.
around to just wail on the tanks on the
Yes,
ground and
indeed.
wail on the flyers, and it is great. Um, I have so much fun just pulling out a shotgun and just decimating Hulks when they get up close, and then just turning around and going back to shooting Ultron. It's
Yeah.
just he's so good this season and a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, he really is. I played him for the first time and did really, really good with him for the first time, and that was basically just using his primary,
Yeah, yeah,
using
yeah.
his AR. So I'm looking forward to playing more of him. But kicking it off with Jeff the Land Shark, as far as the
I'm glad you
strategists
got
go.
this one instead of me. Have
Yeah.
fun reading.
Sit down, kids. I got a story to tell you of Jeff the Land Shark, the wannabe flanker DPS assassin turned strategist. So he gets a fantastic rework, they say. So they add a new effect to Joyful Splash. Now deals damage to enemies at 70 per second and can heal allies through other allies and enemies. Damage fall off starts at 20 meters to a maximum of 65% at 40 meters. They reduce the healing per second from 150 to 130. This is huge. This is the best bone. This is the best positive to his kit, and it is freaking positive.
Yeah.
This
Everything
thing
else
doing
was designed around them giving this the huge buff that they get it. Yeah.
This thing having penetration now and doing damage can be really, really disgusting. People who are trying to write off this rework altogether are saying that like, it's just chip damage though, so he's really just feeding enemy strategists for like healing, but like he's that's not what I actually see happen in game. I see him overwhelming enemy strategists is what I see happen.
Yeah.
And also just being able to do damage that people don't expect, especially when it comes to flyers. Like landing the skill shot of his right click against flyers was not super easy to do, but now he's just an AA cannon. He can just kind of like trace them around, and when they don't have their mobility available, like I've killed a lot of storms as Jeff because a slow flyer with really no mobility skills whatsoever. He's nasty. So
Yeah. Now, if you want to get some comparisons to understand what this healing and damage is, Ultron's Nano Ray is a very similar ability. It goes through allies and enemies, right? The Nano Ray.
oh yeah, his
Team up
team
one?
up. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It goes through allies and enemies and does healing and damage. The Nano Ray does 70 damage a second, which is the same as what Jeff is doing,
Mm-hmm.
but it does 85 healing a second compared to Jeff's 130 a second.
Yeah.
The other breakpoint I want to give you is
That's a good one.
the Scarlet Witch and the Cloak damage suck thing does 70 damage a second, right?
Yeah.
So you're doing Scarlet Witch damage essentially with a beam rifle at an infinite range across the map while also healing people for almost as much as like some strategist ults
Right.
to everyone who happens to be in the way of that. This
Yep.
is incredibly powerful.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? I'm just going to keep reading through, and then we can come back to some of the tech about this that I think people are sleeping on. So they changed this Aqua Burst, which is his right click, to a charge ability. So maximum of 3 charges, 3 seconds per charge. I was wrong about this in my last in the last episode. I should have said that in the patch notes, but here it is now. I said 1 second, but it's 3 seconds per charge. It has a new effect though. Direct hits now launch enemies up, and they increase the spell field damage from 40 to 45. This was his only damage output in season 2 and prior, and it was really, really nasty. He could kill people really quickly with this. This is what allowed him to be so fun as a flanking assassin shark. So people are really mourning the loss of this for sure. But again, we'll come back to this in a holistic way. So they changed the effect of his healing bubble from one-time healing to healing over time. They increased the healing amount from the previous instant 85 to 120 over 4 seconds. They reduced the max charges from 6 to 3 and removed the enemy launch up effect. So this was the other major thing that allowed him to be so disgusting as an assassin. Was he was basically unkillable. If you set up your bubbles well enough, you get 6 of them to get that 85 instant health bonus. You couldn't, unless something could kill you in one hit or you were way out of position, you just wouldn't die. You would,
and it gave you a movement boost to get away too.
And yeah, movement boost too. So they made it heal more supporty, less self-sustained, selfish ability, which again, I mean, it does make sense. You might not like it. I understand that sentiment, but it makes sense with him being a strategist who isn't supposed to be focused on flank assassinations. And then they added a new effect to his hide and seek. This is actually the thing that I'm the most sad about. It now has an energy cap that drains. So it's 120, drains by 20 per second while submerged, and restores 15 per second when not. Basically, it means that he gets 10 seconds of, 6
seconds.
6 seconds of underwater, underland sharking.
And it takes 8 to get it back all the way.
Yeah, this one, you definitely feel it a lot. But yeah, anyway. So his ultimate ability...
You probably won't feel it as much because his playstyle is changing. I think that's part of it. When you're playing a flank assassin, yeah, you're going to feel this a ton, but they're trying to disincentivize you from doing that. If you're playing in the back line, supporting your team, you're not hide and seeking as much. You're just trying to escape.
It's true. It's true. His ultimate ability... the overflow healing on swallowed allies now grants 45 health per second as bonus health up to 150. So now maybe a reason to keep them in your mouth a little bit longer. Not sure anybody's going to be too happy about that, though, even for 150 bonus health.
Yeah.
And they increased the damage reduction received while taking a critical hit from 50% to 70%. So that's huge. His big ol' head is now even more big ol' unkillable. And they did increase the energy cost of Jeff's ultimate from 4,000 to 4,500. So pretty significant increase to the energy cost.
Yeah, the reason for that is because he's doing so much more healing and damage from that left click that theoretically he's going to charge up a lot faster too.
Yeah, exactly. Right. All things considered, the big thing that this did is it changed his playstyle. And here's the controversial thing is the devs for sure. I think what this is, if it wasn't clear, this is what it's revealing. The devs did not design him to be the way that the community decided to play him.
Yeah.
That in and of itself doesn't justify this, right? Like you can't take that piece of information and say good or bad off the bat, right? Like if the community has figured out how to play a hero in like a lot of games in general that have found success through like tech specifically, have found it in ways that might not have been intentionally designed for, right?
Yeah.
So the reason why Jeff was in my S tier for fun, heroes to play, is because of that really unique play style that he had. So people are mourning that loss. What they're not mourning, what you kind of just have to tune out, is like any kind of success with that,
right?
Because his win rate is abysmal. He's one of the lowest picked characters in the game. So all of the I'm a Jeff main people crawling out of the woodworks are maybe a little suspect right now. But also his win rate was terrible. It might have been fun to do, but it wasn't very effective as far as winning matches goes. So the compromise that they made here, I'm going to set myself up. I think it makes sense. I think it genuinely makes sense. I don't think it was a bad decision. Some of it doesn't feel good, admittedly. I totally understand that and agree with it. Some of it doesn't feel good. But I don't think this is to the extent that we got with Thor, which is where I just feel like Thor's bad now, to be totally honest. I feel like Jeff is just different. And I feel like his different is consistently good. So even though it is very different, it does feel really strong. And I see a lot, again, conjecture, but I see a lot more Jeffs in my games now. And I feel like they win a lot.
You should. I mean, he's the third most played strategist so far, according to Rivals Meta for season 2.5.
No, there you go.
Right up there with Rocket, where they're holding it up there, but or fourth most because Cloak and Dagger is still up there. Yeah, I think what's clear is like they were caught in a bind because people found a way to play a character that was just really bad, and they found a way to play him that was really fun, and so they were caught in a bind because for objectively looking at stats and stuff like that, they needed to rework Jeff. He was one of the characters in the game that actually needed a rework this soon. And especially because he was Jeff that was bad. So here's the problem. He's one of the 1-star difficulty characters. He's also the mascot for the game. And so when you have new players and players who haven't played as many games or haven't played a hero shooter before, they're going to come into the game, pick Jeff, be told that he's easy to play, and they are never going to play the flank play style right away.
Yep.
Right? They're going to play him as someone who uses the stream to heal and throws bubbles out every once in a while.
He's the mercy. He's the medic of Marvel Rivals.
And that way to play was awful. It was 40% win rate, right? So if the flank play style had been extremely good and was putting Jeff at an over 50% win rate, they would have had a very difficult decision. But because even that was still at like 44, it was still one of the worst win rates for all characters in the game. Now they have this problem where they have to change him, they have to fix him, but it will upset the people who are playing him. In comp, that was 4% of people. That's not that much. In quick play, it was like 10%. Makes sense. He's going to be a character that's in a lot more quick play games. But a lot of the quick play people are not playing him as the flank thing. Now what they've done is they've made him a lot more straightforward of a strategist to play. If this is your first game, you can just hold the left click where everyone is, and you're going to do a lot. There's still all of the rest of his kit that is going to make him better for other things. But I think right now, I mean, you've already seen his win rate tick up according to Rivals Meta, and he's got one of the biggest sample sizes of all characters in the game from this week, so I think it's legit. He's at 46 now, but I think that's still going to be artificially held down by the fact that, one, he is the introduction character for people. But two, there are a lot of Jeff mains who are still trying to play the flank play style and try to figure out how to make it work. And if you look at these changes, they nerf that into the ground because they're trying to get you to not do it. And so I think he's going to do worse now if you try to play him as a flank than if you try to play him as just a mainline.
I don't know if you've done this, but you want to see something really interesting. Okay. I know it's less of a sample size. Take the box for quick play and look what happens.
He's my goodness.
53.6%. He's in the top 10 highest win rate characters in quick play.
He's strategist number 2.
Yeah.
As far as win rate goes.
Yep. So
way above Rocket. That's crazy.
Yeah. Only below Ultron, which is ridiculous right now, right? 71.8% in quick play. So something has happened here that I think is not a bad thing. A cool data point from what Nick is saying, there was in the big Jeff mega thread on Reddit, 2.5 mega thread, there was one of the top comments was about a guy who's like, my daughter mains Jeff because it's Jeff, and she thought he was super cute and wanted to be a strategist and whatnot, and like since this update she's winning like twice as many games because Nick said, most people were not playing Jeff that way as the flank assassin. So for the people who aren't playing Jeff that way, which is the majority of the very small minority of players who are playing him anyway, there's a lot more potential there.
Yeah. Now my hope would be that for the Jeff flank Jeff mains who are mourning, my hope would be that they see, okay, this is a playstyle people want, and we can't give it on Jeff. My hope would be that they find a duelist or maybe still a strategist later on as a new character that they design as a slippery backline assassin.
Sure.
And they actually design it to be that, where you do set up to get in and out and whatever, and give people like that playstyle without it being Jeff, because it really just shouldn't have been Jeff. That's really the issue.
And yes, you're not a backline assassin anymore, but you are still a positionally based assassin. And this is where you get to think of new strategies where instead of flanking, you're trying to calculate the best angle to heal and support your team while simultaneously drilling a hole through the entire enemy team as they're grouped up together. So there is still a lot of strategy and tech to him.
I mean, now that I think about it, he is very similar to a support Scarlet Witch now, because you have that left click that's a big stream that's pretty much infinite, that's doing exactly the same damage as Scarlet Witch, but at a much greater range, and is also healing people for 130 second. And then you have his right click, which is very similar to her right click. It's big chunks of damage that you don't get as often. Now, because he's a strategist, he gets all the healing on the left click, and the right click is way less frequent that you can do it. But I mean, that might be something to think about, is like a brawly Scarlet Witch Jeff that's healing the whole team by staying just a bit behind everyone. That might be a new play style to think through. But
sounds like you're about to be a Jeff main, Nick.
I might have just talked myself into it. I'm gonna try him after this. All right, we gotta finish. We got two more
to be done.
Yeah, we got two more. Luna. Luna is gonna be a DPS now, I guess. So Luna, they increased the light and dark ice healing amount and damage from 20 per round to 22. So a nice little buff there. And I believe the light and dark is, her main ability. So her main ability just got a 2%, or not 2%, a 2 flat damage increase on every single thing. That's quite a bit over her 30 ammo count. It's going to be quite a bit. And then they added a new effect to Absolute Zero, which is
this is the nasty one.
It now grants 50 bonus health per enemy hit, which is strange because I never thought it was a AoE. But
you know what? I think I misread this. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. What's interesting is I'm reading on the official website. They do not have like a spell field on this. They do not have like a damage area of any kind. It just reads as a single target ability, but they said 50 bonus health per enemy hit. So I'm very curious how you get more than one hit from her ice ball. But
and it already granted bonus health. It already like healed you when you used it. Okay, I'm definitely more confused about this one.
The right click?
Yeah, Those were the only two ways for her to heal herself, were Absolute Zero and then Ice Arts, her shift. So, okay, I'll have to
patch note
this. Yeah. Because I'm actually not sure what that means now. I totally misread that. Okay.
Well, the last thing they did is they increased the energy cost for her ult from 4,500 to 5,000. It's up there with the Adam Warlock one. Yeah, because she gets it so fast, and if she's doing that much more damage every time,
Yep. All right. Finally, Rocket Raccoon, little itty bitty slap on the wrist nerf, which is freaking crazy given his stats. They reduced the direct hit healing amount from 55 to 50 for his right click, which, I mean, okay. Sweet. So that concludes the balance patch notes for all of the heroes. It took us about twice as long as we thought, but
almost. I hate to break it to you, but almost.
Oh, no.
There's a couple things that would be very fast. A couple team ups. They actually made changes to the team ups, like nerfed or buffed the team ups without changing them. So we've already talked about the new team ups. We talked about the ones they got rid of, but the Fantastic Four team up, they increased the cooldown from 20 seconds to 25, so they're going to get that extra health a little bit less often. And then the Emma Frost Psylocke Magneto one, the illusions are going to do less damage. So they were doing. We finally have a number. They were
Yeah, I
doing
know.
30% of whatever damage they would be doing if you were doing the ability. Now they do 20%.
Yeah.
So now now we have that number, it's actually I mean, obviously it's not as good as it was, but it is nice to know, like, if I hit this button, I'm essentially getting a 20% damage boost,
Yeah.
right? Because they're all going to attack the things that I'm attacking. They have aimbot, so
Right.
it's good to know what that is now, but it's
Right,
not as
right,
good
right.
as it was. Okay, now we've touched everything.
Okay. Well, sweet. Thanks for sitting with us through all of that. Let's jump now into. Oh, you know what? Do we want to do a quick winner and loser?
Oh, sure. I would say my biggest winner is the Punisher.
Yeah.
Um, biggest loser, oh gosh, Thor for sure, right?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yours are both of mine. So I will say my biggest winner is Doctor Freaking Strange. So excited to have that potential back, especially in this kind of meta. And then outside of Thor, um, you know, there aren't.
Iron Fist, maybe.
Yeah, maybe Iron Fist, which good. I have no emotional attachment to Iron Fist. I want him to be bad because I hate
Right,
him.
but
Sorry,
he's but
Iron Fist mains.
but he's losing the most, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Maybe
gonna say
healing
Iron
Thor.
Fist. I'm gonna say
Yeah,
Iron Fist.
cool.
Cool. Well,
All right.
I've danced around it enough. Let's get on to the mailbag and Reddit take.
Okay, so we don't have a traditional mailbag today because we didn't have any like Spotify comments or emails that were questions, but we did get quite a few comments that I thought were fun from Spotify from last episode. So
Yeah.
these are just the ones from last episode. There were some that we haven't mentioned from a couple episodes before, but I'm going to keep it here for now. So we had Clayton said the Thor and Jeff changes are great, and I was tired of arguing with people who complain they're ruined. Lol. I can agree with you on Jeff. I don't think I can agree with you on Thor.
Yeah.
But I love the Thor and Jeff are great, and I'm tired of pretending or whatever. I just butchered that quote, but
Right. And
shoot, I can't think of it anymore. You know
I
what I
know
mean?
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, and I'm tired of pretending that they're not.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then we have Asher redacted saying, "No, my baby, they will pay for this."
In stark contrast to Clayton.
Which,
Referring
well
to Jeff.
done, well done with the
Yeah.
Emma Frost Jeff
Yep.
Death line.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
and then we have Watson. I'm gonna assume it's Watson Dr. B.
Oh, yeah.
And they say,
Well,
"I
elevating
100%."
that name status.
They say, "I 100% agree. They need to change how ranking works." Love the show, guys.
Yeah, please
Yeah.
figure it out before season 3 Rivals devs,
Yep.
or I'm never going to play ranked again.
I did make it to gold though, and I have had a couple
Yeah,
games now.
woohoo!
I've had a couple games now with pick and ban, and it's fun.
Yeah.
But you still don't, when you're just into gold, you still don't really have pick and ban because everyone has to be gold or higher in order for it to activate.
Oh,
And you get
interesting.
matched with a whole bunch of silvers all the time. So it's still
How weird.
very rare.
I
Yeah.
didn't think
So
about
now
that.
that's made me want to push into platinum, so I always get pick and
Yeah.
ban. But
Maybe I'll play my like 4th or 5th ranked game of this season and try and go there with you.
just play Ultron and just wreck everyone. Do it.
Yeah.
You were doing it before.
All right. Reddit take of the week. This one is, I just like to ruffle feathers of DPS players. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
Thanks,
Yeah. So this one is by Baphomet, who says, "Flying meta is making me realize too many DPS mains locked in on dive for the past months and can't really play anything else. Oof." They say title. "I've been having so many matches with DPS not really knowing how to deal with Ultron, Iron Man, Torch, Storm when they're all together being pocketed by Rocket or some other healer. And the thing is that those DPS will still lock in Magic, Psylocke, Panther, or some other dive character against them. Hawkeye is right there along Widow, Hela, Namor, and Punisher. Even a well-positioned Star-Lord with good aim can easily deal with them. I can verify that from experience. Star-Lord has been rocking my socks as a Season 2.5 Ultron main. They go on to say, it's interesting to see so many still trying to force dive to happen, even if they can't do anything about the enemy comp. I've had a good 4 or 5 comp quitters because of that since Friday, because they would rather just get the point loss and try again with Psylocke than swap to Hela or something to try and win. Lol. Top comment.
Yep.
I'm starting to think a lot of you are just bad at the game.
Now, this one's interesting to me because on the one hand, so I agree if the point is that people won't switch off of things when it's not working. I will always agree with the take that says people need to switch and counterpick more. 100%. What I can't go there with is like if they're talking about starting the game as one of those characters and seeing if it works, because you don't know what the enemy team is doing before you start the game, and you can guess based on how the season's going. But I don't really want a self-fulfilling meta where I only play poke characters because I expect that it's going to be flyers on the other team, and therefore have a self-fulfilling prophecy of everyone just plays poke characters and flying characters. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I would still rather start as Magic, do the first battle, see how it's going, and if I die early because someone's flying around, then okay, switch to something that take care of them. But I also recognize that, unfortunately, the way it works is then you're losing a first battle, and that's setting your team back. So this is the part that's rough about really defined metas like this, where it's very clear what's happening, is that you can just kind of get locked into every game plays out this way because everyone expects that every game is going to play out this way, and they don't want the disadvantage of losing a first fight because they didn't do it.
Yeah. No, I understand. I can sympathize with that for sure. I think another interesting thing about this though is that like the meta is shifted towards poke, right? Well, guess who counters flyers? Poke characters counter flyers.
Right.
So there's like I don't know. It's tough because I totally understand what you're saying. You wanna be, and I do agree that I think the healthiest balance is a balance that can somehow incorporate everything, and the existence of flyers makes that really challenging because Black Panther is the one. Like Magic may not have been a great example for this Reddit post because her win rate is actually still really high. Black Panther is the one that we saw drop the most. And Black Panther does rely way more on grounded targets than Magic does, who has a lot more like vertical mobility, and just, the damage with her right click and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think the general sentiment of this really does stand, though, that, and I kind of alluded to this at the beginning, that I think that Marvel Rivals might be a game where you can't just like decide I'm a Black Panther main and I'm going to play nothing but Black Panther and this is going to be my character. I think the game, for better or for worse, like doesn't work that way, and that over the seasons, maybe not as dramatically as this, maybe it shouldn't be this dramatic. I think I'll just say it probably shouldn't be this dramatic, but as the seasons go on, you're going to see ebbs and flows of certain characters rising into the spotlight and then kind of fading into the background a little bit. And it's not that you can't ever play Black Panther. I will still get bodied by a nasty Black Panther. Like, it's just that you like, the game wants you to learn to engage with more of the heroes.
Yeah.
And you have to do that to be successful is my kind of core takeaway.
I think because it's a Marvel game, they're very incentivized to make sure that everyone has their chance to shine, right?
Yes.
The flip side of that, though, is that if their hand is too heavy on the balance and on the meta to make that happen,
right,
you also have, because it's a Marvel game, people who are just, I am a Black Panther fan. That is what I'm playing this game for, is because I can play Black Panther. And they're not going to want to switch. Like, so it is rough because it seems like they're taking the side of like they want to differentiate seasons a lot more, and they want to like have every character have a season where they are good for a little while and then change it up. It does seem like this season that they went a little bit too far, and I think that's partially just because flyers are a lot more of a hard counter to things than anything else in the game.
Yes,
because of the fact that the thing cannot hit you if you fly 8 meters above the ground. he cannot hit you, period.
Right.
There's a lot of characters like that. And so that I think when we see this with other things, it doesn't end up being as strong. Although we had the strategist strike last season because people were so frustrated with dive. So I would much rather see it be in a place where, like we start into the game and I pick magic anyway because I expect that they're playing poke because I think that they think we're playing flying, and then I'm just gonna, get in their face and kill all the pokers, right? Like I want it to be in that place, but it seems like the way it ends up working out is everyone plays a fly poke hybrid and is countering each other, and it just means that there's no space for any grounded characters at all.
Right.
Because
if your entire team, if you're Magic, if you're picking Magic, and let's make it Black Panther. If you're picking Black Panther, and you have Ultron, let's say you have Iron Man and Ultron, and like you now have very, very limited physical presence on the battlefield. Vanguards are exasperated right now because of the range stuff. So you only have one Vanguard. And you're right. I totally agree. And it'll be interesting to see how this plays out and how next season can course correct, can fix, can improve upon. We'll see what it does.
It's so funny because I'm having so much fun this season. It is really fun having it shake up this much, and I also feel like it's not a good thing overall. So it's I'm like caught in between.
You.
We'll see how it develops. For sure.
I'm benefiting from it as a 2.5 Ultron main, but I get it as well. My goodness, what an episode. Thank you for sitting through episode 18 of the podcast. If you are hungry for even more Friends and Rivals content, you can consider joining us over on Instagram at Friends and Rivals, on X at Friend Rival Pod, or on Discord via the link in the show notes. If you got a question you'd like us to answer in our next episode, drop it in our Discord chat or in the comments on Spotify for this episode, or email us directly to our Gmail. Alrighty, friends, we will see you in the multiverse.
Yeah.